Hey everybody, welcome to the Popcorn Talk podcast, where we talk about media and the like. I'm Dr. Squiggles, along with my two best friends, the Handsome Cat and Kai Bat.
Huh?
What was your tag name?
Bat Kai?
Bat Kai? Kai Bat, Bat Kai. I always forget the fucking acronym.
Kai Bat, Bat Kai. Am I the fat kid from Yu-Gi-Oh?
Well, you know. Are you Seto Kai Ba?
Bruh. Kai, bruh. Yeah.
Kai, bro. You looking like the PS5 over there.
Really long
What that flag do?
Not all capes were heroes, bro.
Fuck.
I'm Wayne Bruce.
My favorite hero of all time, Wayne
Parker
Bruce.
Peter.
Yeah, man,
Did you say Pogger Peter?
I said Parker Peter.
They said Pogger Peter.
Pogger Peter.
What the?
Pogger Peter, come here, Poggers.
Peter's Poggers now.
Peter Pogger packed a pack of pick of poppers.
Fuck, man. That's some
poppers.
quantum shit.
Peter picked a pack of jalapeno poppers.
Fuck.
Delicious.
You joke, but jalapeno poppers actually sound pretty busted right now.
Well, the only place around here that sells poppers that are worth an eighth of an amber BK, and they're the little jalapeno nuggets with.
Oh no, I'm saying like make our own. Because like you make them homemade and they're fucking delicious.
Well, you're gonna want to call my brother because he found a way to wrap it in bacon before frying it.
Oh no, yeah, my what was it? My buddy before Wingstop, like he was the manager over there. He made the most amazing jalapeno poppers with the bacon and everything, and I think he put like bacon bits in the cream cheese and everything. Oh, I know you don't like cream cheese. Sorry.
Well, I mean, I like cream cheese in small doses, but when you have people committing sins with cream cheese, and I know this is coming from me, it's hypocritical. Hypocritical. It's hypocritical.
Hippocrates?
Papadopoulos.
And I live in the state where this abomination exists. The Seattle dog.
Oh.
Where people put just straight Philadelphia on their footlong.
Now see, that's different. That's a crime against nature, dude.
Welcome to Seattle. But, bro, we were walking around Seattle. We swore up and down.
Look, we had a decent basketball team for a while, okay?
So from what it sounds like, we've got, like, the West Side's got like half of it right. So we got the California burrito, which is pretty good.
California burrito is actually pretty
California. Anything with California in the name, 8 times out of 10 is actually not bad.
Right, but then you're saying you got with Seattle one, so it's looking like we got like 1 out of 2 right.
Yeah.
Now you get the Coney Island dog on the east side, and that's
Coney Island dog is busted.
That's delicious.
Fire.
Is that what
You get the Chicago dog, that one's good.
Is that representing what's Cody 2012 or
No. Coney Island is just literally an island off the coast of like fucking New York. It's literally where Coney Island theme park comes
I
from.
was gonna say out the coast of Puerto Rico, but
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, bro, we run Kano.
Coney 2012.
You remember that shit in high school?
Yeah.
People were like, run Kano. I'm like, are you seriously using a fucking dictator, motherfucker? Using war children to promote your school pride? What the hell?
fuck yeah,
Fuck yes.
America, let's go.
I mean, land of opportunity, I guess.
I'm the free and home of the cage. Cage. Anyway,
Talking about corporalism or
God, we're gonna get-
capitalism.
No, Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
hey, that doesn't count. He changed his name like once again into the movie biz. No one wanted to work with a Scorsese.
Coppola, sir.
Was it Coppola? I'm sorry. Either way.
Scorsese? People give their left nut to talk to Scorsese. You
That's
sure?
fair. Okay. Yeah.
Scorsese's just smart enough to know Marvel movies are dog shit.
He also made Jack.
True.
I liked Jack though. I thought Jack was okay.
And shit.
And shit.
But Jack left town and got old.
Mm-hmm.
And died.
I just.
Literally, unfortunately, Robin Williams is dead. So
Yeah.
rest in peace, but.
R.I.P.
Great man.
So, for our topic on this go-around, since we've got the cringe tro.
Yeah, you had like a good topic for us.
What do you believe makes the most adequate adaptation? Not the best, not the worst, but most even-lined.
So, should we let you go first since you had the topic in the first place?
We've got 3 options of book to movie, which I know is salty for a fuck ton of people. Twilight, Harry Potter.
Hunger Games.
Yeah. Maze Runner. Anyway.
Actually,
Ender's Game.
The one
I got one.
The Ender's Game one wasn't bad.
The adaptation, I think, actually followed the books really fucking close. Was It's the one that Hunger Games is based off of, the Japanese book. It was called
Battle Royale?
Battle Royale. There we go. Those movies were fucking cool.
Dude, I loved those movies, but that's just...
It had Takeshi Kitano in them.
Well, see...
Yeah, he was one of the directors in that.
Well, see, that's actually another adaptation we could talk about, which really 9 times out of 10 eats dog dick. But another adaptation between book to movie, you've got video games to movie, which is a very rough patch.
Halo.
No, that's a film series. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
That had no excuse to be bad. You had 12 episodes that were an hour long, and now the Covenant Queen exists, and she's a human bitch. Mm-hmm. Anyway, or there's anime to movie.
Which is like very slippery slope because anime is like its own fucking film genre. And
Death Note.
Okay.
What's
the
so
only good
wrong
part about that was Willem Dafoe was real.
Come on, though. What's so wrong
but to have
about
one
it?
redeeming quality does not a movie make. That's
Yeah.
That's the same shit for 2016 Suicide Squad. Just because you had Harley Quinn and decent costumes, that doesn't make the movie good.
And that's even stretching it a little bit.
Look, all I'm saying is
It won an Oscar for the fucking makeup and costume
Did it actually?
department.
Oh, I guess like Croc was really, really done well. I did like his makeup.
He was actually one of the shittiest things in the movie, according to everybody.
really. Oh.
Because for how big Croc's supposed to be, they felt.
Well,
it should
yeah,
be
the size-wise, yeah.
We talked about that a while ago.
But like his skin and everything, I thought that was done really well. Better than the Supergirl version, or was it Stargirl?
Stargirl had Croc.
Okay, yeah. Where you see him open his mouth and his teeth stay like closed, like back here, or something like that. It looks like a mask.
But there's also a new adaptation that we had just brought up. Japanese media to adaptation, not just anime or manga. Japanese movies, much like how Godzilla did, or Battle Royale, or The Ring.
Godzilla, I think, benefited a lot. Like, especially the newer one, the 2014 one, was really good. I liked Godzilla vs. Kong. That one was fun.
was that 2014 when that Godzilla movie came out?
Yeah.
The first Godzilla movie with Aaron Taylor Johnson and Walter White.
I was in middle school, dude.
Dude, I was yoked to see fucking...
They made him fucking huge,
They
dude.
made him intimidating. They made him sound right.
They made his thighs thick as fuck, dude.
Bro, when he roared on screen, Liam Neeson would pee. That's how you know you nailed it. When Chuck Norris does that blink face, like, you know you made a decent sounding monster. But what irritated 90% of people, Matt included, and you remember him and I going back and forth about this.
Oh, yeah.
Well, to name a movie Godzilla and only have him in the movie for 10 minutes, I'm like,
That's true.
Dude,
How many times have you seen God?
I'm like, dude, think about it. It's called making suspense, building character. Yeah. Do I wish I got to see the airport fight? Duh. Do I wish I got to see the fight in the city? Sure. But you have to think, Jaws was almost just over 2 hours long.
You only saw
the shark for 5 minutes.
Yeah, in total.
At most.
Jurassic Park was 2 hours and 7 minutes long. Dinosaurs altogether only had 12 minutes of screen time.
Yeah, fair. But it's a matter of like how big of an impact those few minutes
It's
get.
how well you use it, and I believe yes.
Unlike
if you
Beetlejuice, which is like he got basically like cut to the background a lot in his own movie.
Yeah, but I mean, Beetlejuice was also something that came off of Tim Burton's brain.
Yes,
That's not something that he's basing off of.
that's good. Yeah.
But, or for instance, what I call Beetlejuicing in a movie, a best example of that would be throwing Venom into Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, fair. And then underutilizing the shit out of him.
Yeah, totally. Anyway.
So I didn't hate Topher as Venom, he's garbage. But like, if he was a different villain, we were talking about this a while ago.
Yeah, we were
if he
talking
was
about
like
this a couple days
cast him as Mysterio or something like that, I could see him as like a waiter at like a fucking restaurant somewhere. He sees Spider-Man and he feels like he's a nobody. So
Well, see,
he's like an undergraduate in like film school or something like that.
Like, I still like the idea of having Bruce Campbell as Mysterio.
I do like
Sam
that.
Raimi wanted to do it. Because it gave the role connectivity. He was in every one.
That's fair. Yeah.
And to put a con on like that, because you had him in the wrestling studio. Perfect place to get money.
Yeah, he was in a theater, like good place to learn special effects and everything.
A good place to get special effects. It was a theater that rich people would go to. Easy way to get money.
Oh yeah.
And then you had the fancy French restaurant. Overcharge people shit tons. Fancy
Easy way to get money, and especially like tips around the holidays. Fuck.
Easy way for him to get conned and almost chameleon-esque. so to say.
I can see that. Definitely.
But I still think he would have been great as Mysterio because it just plays well in Sam Raimi's world.
Mm-hmm.
But
and plus, it plays into the PS1 game a lot.
That too. And with Topher, especially since you said the PlayStation version, if you take like the PS4 version, I think, like I told you, him as Electro, I think would have nailed.
Oh yeah. As Maxwell Dillon, I can see that.
Like for him to play Electro, because he kind of had that longer face that Electro had in the game.
Yeah.
That body build, I think he can nail that kind of.
I could see him in an electrician's uniform, and then he gets the powers some way, or maybe he's like in college learning the trade or something like that.
I mean, I still think it'd be better than what Jamie Foxx gave us, and I mean that's not Jamie Foxx's fault either.
I honestly kind of liked Jamie Foxx's take on Electro a little bit.
Like I liked how Jamie Foxx did it. It was more so the writing, which unfortunately is hell in the comic book movie world. Look what happened to Daredevil. Look what happened to Green Lantern.
Another aspect of adaptations, definitely, like that people see as like sort of like don't change anything about them from the comics to the movies, which is another thing that I've been noticing with DC movies compared to Marvel movies, is that Marvel movies try to adapt. They try to adapt their characters from what they know from the comics, rather than DC pulling characters straight from stories.
Like with how Marvel is doing it, they modernize.
Yes, like what they did with the Ultimates line.
Like, best way to prove modernization is what they did with Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Or, like, how they modernized Captain America.
So would you also...
Yeah, because, like, Captain America in the movies and the comics, very different.
Well, I guess you wouldn't really apply that to She-Hulk, would you?
Well, She-Hulk was a different beast. Like,
She-Hulk...
They tried to make it as close to the comics as possible.
I was saying, because that was still pretty, like, close-ish, if I'm not mistaken.
Like, the ending was very close to the comics, but it was, like, it was done in a way that doesn't really feel like it would be She-Hulk, you know?
Yes and no, I would agree to a point, but with how the whole She-Hulk line went, it was okay for, you know, female empowerment and what they tried to make better from Captain Marvel's aspect, which... Thinking back, really, the movie wasn't all that bad, but with how She-Hulk tried to do everything, they tried to put too much focus on the...
Like She-Hulk is better than Hulk right now, or something like that?
Is it...
Kind of, but...
was it that, or just, like, girl power in general?
More so kind of like girl power, like you don't need a man to be good.
What do you mean? If you do it right, you can do that story very well.
And I'm all
it's compelling.
And I'm all for the feminism. And
I fucking love Powerpuff Girls. Powerpuff Girls is great.
Exactly. Powerpuff Girls, they even touched on that with the overuse and bastardization of feminism with the girl who was using Susan B. Anthony as a ploy.
Yeah, exactly.
But... they were kind of all over the place with what they were trying to do with She-Hulk. As much as I did like the show, as much as I did laugh, as much as I loved how they made Daredevil horny.
I mean, which is accurate to the fucking comics.
She-Hulk fucks a lot. She has needs.
Like, there's a list.
We all have needs.
But
we're not guilty.
They covered the fourth wall breaking. It's not Deadpool level. It doesn't need to be, nor should it be. You can't top Ryan Reynolds when it comes to shit like that.
Yeah. Oh, God.
No.
They covered the fourth wall breaking well. They covered her power and strength pretty well. They covered her control very well.
Because she's realistically one of the only Hulks that can control her her rage, unless she's like going through something like stressful. Or I think it's mostly stress.
Much like at the end of the second to last episode when the paparazzi was all over her and her videos got leaked.
One thing I'm confused about is why that moment right there was specifically a bad thing, because that was mainly something in her personal life. And it was the leak of the sex tape, right?
Well, see, yeah, but that right there, it's a personal thing. You don't want that shit to get out. It's like when somebody's nudes get leaked, or if somebody sends like.
But I mean, that shouldn't credit her to her character or anything. I mean, she was roped into doing that.
Yeah, but it's still damaging. And because of something like that, she could lose her job at a law firm. She could lose a lot of people, get a lot of backlash. She was already in hot water as it was because she had to represent Blonsky.
Yeah.
She had to try to simmer down her abilities.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, that right there is one thing I know they did not do well, was covering the law firm scenes.
I wish it was more so at the actual law firm, like doing like district court stuff.
Well, see, and unfortunately, the writers of the show came forth and said that like we knew nothing about how to write court scenes or
at the very least
law
honest
shit.
about it. Okay,
That's true.
I mean, like they were the only thing I know they did right and nailed out of the fucking ballpark with a Barry Bonds swing was Matt Murdock's representation in court, to where it only took him 5 minutes to win this case.
Yeah,
Because he was able to smell the jet fuel on Leapfrog and just be like, you did this, you didn't ask questions, you didn't bring this through, you don't have proof, and you have no evidence.
basically got him in like a Judge Judy case.
Basically.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I gave you simple rules, specific rules on what to do with that suit, and you broke you broke my contract, so therefore our shit is null and void.
So I have some things to say about Leapfrog, but it was
There's a lot of shit to say about Leapfrog.
I wasn't mad at the way that they portrayed Leapfrog. There was definitely there was a vision I had for Leapfrog, specifically from the comics. I like the fact that he's a bumbling hero that gets by just plain luck, but he's like, he's so stupid to a point where it actually works, and he's actually called upon by certain heroes because of it, because they think that he does well. I like that aspect of like getting into something that you're way over your head in, and then just like getting up by the string of your teeth.
Right.
This version of Leapfrog to me was Johnny Cage.
It was, yeah, I can see that.
Bumbling idiot, thought he knew what he was doing, had daddy's technology, which Johnny never did, but was able to run off what he thought was right, his looks and abilities. He didn't think he needed anybody else. And then once he got into tournament or real life heroism, shit went down.
Yeah. Which I think could be like, if you were to expand upon the character, which I don't think they will, because it's such a one-off character almost in the show.
Well, I mean, they also already confirmed season 2's not happening.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you were anywhere else, I mean, like, because he was in a group called, what was it, like the Regrettables or something like that? It was with Darkhawk and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there were lesser-known heroes that, like, didn't do very much, but they were still there to help out when they needed to.
Yeah.
Like, it was either the Regrettables or... Here, let me pull it up, actually.
But
You guys keep talking.
Talking about...
It's actually the Forgettables.
It might be the Forgettables, I could see
it
that.
might be. Because I remember that being a team. That was like a one-off joke team.
That was the one with fucking Forget-Me-Not?
Yep.
I was about to say Forget Me Not. That's exactly what I
I
said.
fucking love Forget-Me-Not because it's like he's the reason that everyone succeeds all the
Yeah,
time.
I'm like, what a weird, I'm like, kind of a neat concept. I'll give it that. 'Cause
I like that a lot.
First,
yeah.
it's like, what's the point of his power? And it's like, oh, that's not a bad gimmick. Just make a character who is like, yeah, everyone forgets him because that's his power.
He's essentially plucked from time.
He just kind of hangs out with what's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
And wasn't that the dude who was in She-Hulk?
No, that's Mr. Immortal. That's a different guy.
That's right.
Mr. Immortal is like, basically he's functionally never going to die.
And see, that was another one that I felt was done okay, but not perfectly. It was a little confusing to see.
Right.
But it was nice to see another one that hadn't been brought out. And thinking of Avengers-style things,
Yeah.
an adaptation that didn't live up to potential when you had everything right there and as strong as he was, much as I hate to say it, Age of Ultron.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really don't remember that movie a whole lot.
Well, you're not missing much. The Age of Ultron was
Well, I've seen it, but I'm saying it's like I don't remember a lot from that movie, honestly.
like the Age of Ultron was like 5 hours. But
Jesus.
especially when you have people like Scarlet Witch, you have Quicksilver, which that was unfortunate. That was probably the best version of Quicksilver.
Yeah, and I liked the guy that he got for it.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson, I think, could have been really well. He's got the facial structure. He's got the attitude that goes along with it. I could see him as like good guy at first, but then goes over to the mutants for a bit. Like,
Well, for like his back and forth with Hawkeye, that pretty much cemented how I thought.
that's
he was.
Quicksilver.
And for how big of opinion, or especially his lack of brain thought. Like his body moves faster than his brain.
Yes.
Like when he tried to catch Mjolnir, it goes right through the wall.
Yeah. I think it was the Loners. That's the team that Frogman and Darkhawk were on.
The Stoners, got it.
The Stone. Oh, League of Losers. There we go. It's got the League of Losers.
Which name is it, man? We got 15 of them right now.
It's an alternate timeline. It was
The Stoners, the Loners, the Boners. Which one do you want?
Yeah, the Loners was a team where, like, you remember in the... You good? He's eating enchiladas and he's dying. The Loners was a team, like, back when what was that one story with Spider-Man where basically he's accused of murder and he has to take up different identities? Identity Crisis, there we go.
Crisis.
Yeah, so after that story happens, basically all these identities of different heroes... Dragonfly, you had... Oh, no, it was Hornet. You have Hornet, you have Ricochet, you have all of his basically different suits that he's been wearing. All of these identities basically go in the trash. And a bunch of other people basically say, like, hey, let's try to do some hero work. These heroes still exist. Let's fucking make these costumes, and then we'll just basically say, like, hey, these were actually real the whole time.
Yeah.
Basically, they take up the mantle of heroes that have been around for a bit. And that's what the Loners were. And I like Ricochet's costume a lot. It's just like, it's white and black, and he uses like these little metal discs as like projectiles, essentially.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like a big old leather jacket with like the spandex suit, which I think is a fucking amazing look. I really like that.
Now, escaping from like comic book. Well,
sorry.
actually, I will be fair. I've been shitting on Marvel. I did shit on the Suicide Squad, but I feel like that's just American to do so at this point.
Yeah.
It makes me cry. You do that every time.
I mean, so...
My favorite movie of all time.
I love Superman. Don't get me wrong. Superman's one of my favorite heroes. But Man of Steel. Would you like to... Would you sing as though...
Where are you going with this one, bud?
It's like, I like Superman. I like how they did Superman. I wish that they were giving Henry Cavill more screen time and more things to do with Superman, but I think Man of Steel could have been more. I think it could have been more as far as, like...
Did you finish the movie?
I did.
You did.
And I love Zod. Zod is fucking perfect. Zod, I think, was, like, emulated very well. I wish that they would stop going to Zod, though. But
stop going to Zod. This is the second time they used Zod. Everything else has been Lex.
Oh, I thought they used Zod more. I'm sorry.
Literally, all 4 of the original movies had Lex Luthor.
Then they need to stop going to Lex Luthor.
Which is why I appreciated that he went to this. Like, Man of Steel.
Okay.
Here's where we can have an argument. Cool.
All right, let's go.
Man of Steel, I thought was probably the best way it was done because it reached a human level. Like, this is actually a good comparison of Marvel that everyone loves to shit on. Marvel has humans that are so powered that they think themselves as gods. That they try to be gods. Outside of Thor, which is already a god. But
well, I mean, that's expendable at this point, because they explain magic as science in Marvel.
And then where you have DC movies, especially with how, like, Snyder tried to do it. I'm not trying to say Snyder's the greatest thing since Betty White, but
yeah.
How Snyder made Superman to me was better because it made a god that tried to stay human.
But that's like the best part about Superman in general. It's like not like what powers he has and what he's going to do with those powers. It's how he's going to deal with the situation going forward. Because they've established that he's essentially like this god level being, essentially. But it's how he uses his humanity to get through situations.
And that's exactly how Man of Steel did it. You didn't have the focus of Lex. You didn't have the focus of Kryptonite. You had the focus of him and solely his humanity. Like,
okay.
It was his first day on the job, and he did better than what the fucking Avengers did after 6 movies and some history.
Okay, that's... Alright.
And for him to go all the way around the world, take out one of the world engines, take out Zod, get his ass kicked by Feora through an IHOP.
Fair.
And get the backing support of people who hated him at first, the military.
Yeah.
And showed that he was protecting him and did his best. You had the backing of the U.S. government. You had the general, who was actually Martian Manhunter in disguise the whole time.
Yeah.
Which was a cool thing to figure out.
That was pretty cool. And you had him back in the Justice League Snyder Cut.
Yep. Which was supposed to be the Green Lantern anyway, but that's another story. But you had him calm, cool, and collective. He was scared. He wanted to be the hero. The one thing that I do disagree with how Man of Steel did, I used to defend it, But after following further into Superman lore and comics and fun shit, they did his dad so wrong. Pa Kent
Yeah, Pa Kent.
never would have told him, don't do it.
He would have been encouraging him.
He would have said, and I'm taking this comparison from a comic book page to what was said in the movie. One of the same situations like when Clark had to save the kids from the school bus that fell into the lake off the bridge. In the comic book, something like that happened when it was a flashback scene, and Pa Kent said, you did what you had to do, and I'm proud of you for doing so. Not everyone else could say they would have done the same if they were in your ability. Whereas in the movie, Clark said, what was I supposed to do? Just let them die? Pa Kent said, maybe. You never know what should have happened.
That's not Pa Kent. That's not his dad.
Yeah, it's a pretty big contrast.
Like, it's more focused on realism because of how it really would happen.
But even in Smallville, they had that aspect, didn't they?
To a point, but he still wanted him to be himself.
Right.
Pa Kent was trying to make Clark hide from the world because of who he was. He didn't want the government on his ass. He didn't want to have the Flashpoint paradox basically happen, to where he would have been locked away under the red sun and drained.
Yeah.
And I get that's him showing his love and support. And like when he was able to save him from the Twister, and he said, no, don't do it because all these people will see you, basically. Like, because here's my example of how I know that's how the real world would work. Look at what the fuck we did with the sniffles in 2020. Look at what happened with COVID. People were nuts.
Yeah. A lot of things could have been handled a lot better. And
just by, or look at what happened with that anonymous dude who was exposing pedophiles and all the other shit. Everyone was after his ass trying to make it a crisis when he was doing the work of God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're freaking out when we have people like this. What the hell are they going to do when there's a God who a nuke can't stop?
Yeah. Yeah,
And,
I'll give it
and
to
like
you.
how they covered it in Batman vs. Superman. They took his ass to court. They tried to justify what was going through with the American legal system, and Superman complied. That is Superman. He
kept himself in the cuffs.
Yeah, he's still learning what he has to do to be who we know Superman to be. Which is what was fully appreciated by the time Justice League came out. And after he was resurrected, he saw what he could do. He saw the negative effect, and especially taking it out on people like Diana, Bruce, Aquaman. By the end of the Snyder Cut, he was the Superman we know. But there are some things like 2017's Justice League was an itch in the nuts. Especially when you saw what should have happened with the Snyder Cut. You had great movies like Man of Steel is still probably my favorite one they've done.
Okay.
Just because of how well they did the fight scenes, and everyone's like, why didn't you take him out of town? Why didn't you take him somewhere else? I'm like, a guy's first day on the job, he's not completely sure what the fuck he's up against. Yeah, he's able to hone his skills, but Zod has been around for God knows how much longer. And was bred to be a murderer.
Zod knows what fucks with people, and he's able to read people like almost at a glance.
Especially when they went to the farm because they knew the ship was there, and they were thinking the Codex was there, not part of Clark's DNA.
Right.
He knew that he had a mother. He knew that he had a family. He knew that he could utilize whatever the fuck he wanted, and he was protective of these people. It's not Dragon Ball to where Goku can say, let's go fight in the fucking Alps or some shit. Or let's go fight in the polar ice caps. The worst that can happen is a penguin gets slapped. I don't know. But you have this being who is stronger, who is more honed in his fighting sense and skills than Clark. He wasn't able to... If you think Clark could have been able to move him and take him somewhere else, he would have out of Grand Central.
Yeah.
Not had him sitting there fighting and struggling to hold his head while he's about to kill the family. Which is why I think that was a well-done version of Superman.
Right. I was saying, because that does bring a unique aspect where people don't think about a lot. When it's like, you have a brand new hero who's just trying to figure out, kind of like, more in general, just like the whole sense of like, what am I supposed to do in this situation?
Bringing his
Right?
own version of
'Cause-
sense of right to the table.
And it's hard to think about that when you've already have an established superhero like Superman who's been there for years. It's like, of course Superman knows what to do, but it's like, how about day one Superman? Of course he's not gonna know what to fucking do.
Yeah.
Like, he's spent his whole life as Clark Kent, and now he finally got Superman.
If you think about it, like, Iron Giant and Superman have a lot in common. I mean,
That was
that was the whole point of Iron Giant.
Exactly. That's why he looks up to Superman, or at least Hogarth wants him to try to look up to Superman.
Yeah.
And
If you look about it, like, Hogarth was essentially Pa Kent in that situation.
yeah, kind
Yeah. It was like a young Paul Kent, yeah.
Then once you get to like Batman vs Superman, yes, it had fucking problems. I think the movie's fucking phenomenal, especially if you watch the 3-hour cut, because that extra half hour explained a fucking lot that was cut out of the theatrical cut.
Did you like Lex?
Yes, to a degree.
Okay.
I liked that he was supposed to be actual Lex's son. It wasn't put out that way, but that's how he was supposed to be.
All right.
He was meant to be Alex Luthor, not full Lex Luthor.
Okay. That if they explained that, I'd be fine. I'd
Which
be all right.
unfortunately wasn't in the movie, but it was meant for like fans to know, kind of thing.
Kinda like
for
what-
how he behaved, for how kind of sporadic and spastic he could be.
Like what they did in Amazing Spider-Man 2 with the Norman actually dying, and then Harry's basically the inheritor of the company.
Yes,
Okay.
that's actually a fairly perfect comparison.
Okay.
But like, and people went in like, "Oh, Batman doesn't kill. Why is Affleck doing this?" I'm like, this is after Robin died. This is after he lost everything. He lost his way and motivation. You got this person doing whatever it fucking takes to bring justice and bring the shit out of Gotham.
Hell, it's not the first time that Batman has tried to kill before. When he was trying to patrol and become stronger to beat foes like Bane, he was using Venom. And, like, at that point, he was, like, breaking people in half and shit. And that's when he called Azrael to take over for him while Alfred locked him in the fucking Batcave.
Basically quarantined his ass.
Yeah, and had him go fucking cold turkey.
And I think they actually really nailed Batman, especially because he's in his 40s and 50s at this time.
I love Ben Affleck as Batman. I think it works.
Ben Affleck's Batman, he was forlorn. You saw the worry and distress on his face and how he acted. I wish there was a little more time as Bruce Wayne to see how he utilized it.
I do like when he's Bruce Wayne and he's talking to the rest of the Justice League. That feels like Bruce Wayne to me.
Yeah.
Like when it goes like, the bank owns the farm, so I bought the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like how they did Wonder Woman, but I do think that, yes, they probably could have given Lex a better actor. Do I think that Eisenberg could have done it? Sure. But that's not what he really wanted to do. He just gave an idea because it was a name for him to utilize on a resume.
Yeah.
And after him shaving his head and looking like Lex at the end credit scene of Justice League, I got excited because I knew the Legion of Doom was coming. I knew they were going to have Reverse Flash. They were either going to have Boomerang or someone else. They were going to have Manta because he was still alive.
Oh, yeah.
You had Deathstroke of all fucking people.
Fucking Joe Manganiello as Deathstroke is probably one of the best casting decisions I've heard in a long time.
That is basically the greatest D&D rogue assassin character you can be for a D&D nerd to play.
Yeah.
Right.
And especially since he's the only person that Batman can ever beat by himself.
He needs the Bat family to beat Deathstroke because he's basically just as smart as Batman, along with like the know-how and willingness to kill at a moment's notice.
But, I mean, I do agree that they tried to cram too much into the movie.
Yeah.
I do think that killing Superman at the end of the movie was a little much. I understand how it could have been utilized, but you could have stretched it a little more.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman was fucking perfect.
Like if they did a Man of Steel Part 2, like
Well, but they kept trying to, but no one wanted to get the fucking funding for it, and they were going to use Metallo. Or they thought about adding Metallo as the main villain for Batman vs Superman.
I'd be all for that.
Before Doomsday's project came in, and that was wrong to include Doomsday.
Yeah. Doomsday is like a later thing.
Way too early.
Kind of like if they brought in.
They wanted to play the
Yes.
They want to play Death of Superman way too early, before the impact would have been that strong.
And
They showed their whole hand when they should have waited.
Exactly.
And the guy that they were going to get to be Metallo was the guy who lost his legs at the beginning of the movie that Bruce had to help lift the sign up and took Superman to court. He was in a wheelchair, and Lex blew him to hell, which was further explained why and how in the Ultimate Edition. But turns out that he was going to survive and basically had the same kind of project shit happen to him as what Cyborg had.
Okay.
And Metallo was going to be the villain for Batman vs Superman before they thought, well, let's throw this in.
Fuck.
I'm like, if Metallo was there, that would have made more sense because Brainiac is who everyone wanted, including the studio for Man of Steel 2.
Okay, alright.
And failed fucking opportunity.
I think Brainiac could have been like a really good one-off villain, honestly.
I think Brainiac probably could be a decent Justice League villain because look at how strong he can be.
Yeah.
Especially to have him in Man of Steel because they were going to bring in Kara. They were going to bring Supergirl in. They had the other people in Justice League by then. Mm-hmm. You could have had a war. You could have had a real war team. But moving on from Batman vs Superman, then you had the Suicide Squad, which you were up here and hit there.
Fuck. Enchantress was done poorly.
Enchantress shouldn't have happened, and actually it was right there where studio interference started happening.
Really?
Because Enchantress and I can never remember her brother's fucking name.
No, I don't even bother. I can't
Enchantress and the other dude were never supposed to be the villains.
Really? Oh, it was supposed to be Steppenwolf, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to be Steppenwolf, which led into the Justice League because the Suicide Squad were able to hold off Steppenwolf and the Parademons to a degree until Batman said, my team's gonna fucking take care of it, pull your people out.
Okay.
And that's what would have led into Justice League, into the Darkseid problems, and everything else. But the studio's like, no, Batman vs Superman didn't break $1 billion, it didn't do this, so you're not in charge. And David Ayer lost a lot of his shit. And all of the good Joker scenes that actually made people think Jared Leto wasn't bad were cut. Because there was flashback scenes in the Suicide Squad that were supposed to happen of when they killed Robin and when Batman snapped and beat the shit out of him, broke all of his teeth, and then he was getting tattooed to leave permanent reminders on Batman. Every time you see me, you see what I get to do, what I've done to you. I am a constant mirror reminder, and I know you won't fucking let me die. So you're gonna see this every time.
Fuck.
And then they also had another scene to where Leto had the fucking balls to try and piss off Superman.
What was that, like at the end of the Snyder Cut?
Well, no, it was part of the Suicide Squad. It was another scene to where he was like,
oh, shit.
in Metropolis, I don't know if he was trying to fuck with Lois or what he was doing, but he was going after Superman.
Oh, shit.
I'm like, to have Joker fuck with Superman, knowing who Superman is, that's Joker.
I mean,
that's the most Joker thing Joker can Joker.
It does show that in the original, like, Justice League cartoon. Like, he's talking to, like, that whole scene where Joker's talking to Lex, and he's basically like, I can kill Superman within the afternoon. It's like, why should I trust you when you can't even beat a fucking human in a bat suit?
When you can't even beat a mere mortal. There's nothing near about that mortal.
But that's Joker. That's fucking Joker. Like, he takes on larger life tasks and, like, fucking gets away with it somehow.
Like, there's only one person Joker fucking hates, and that's Nightwing.
Yeah.
Because he can't break Nightwing's brain.
Nightwing's too positive.
I thought you were going to say because Harley Quinn had sex with him.
Yes.
That too.
That too.
But Nightwing can't get fucked with mentally. He's so stonewalled after what happened to the Graysons and the training with Batman after seeing what he could do to Batman.
He's so full of hope that at this point, he's basically a Blue Lantern.
Well, because he's basically just that sarcastic and asshole, like, no, I'm better than you.
It's like,
that willpower,
you're just a fucking loser.
That willpower of Nightwing
Don't
being
make
so
me
egotistical is what makes him beat Joker.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of makes me want to have asshole Dick Grayson back, but he was so much of an asshole. He's almost a villain in his own right.
Yeah. And then another thing that DC did wrong, as much as I thought the movie was all right, and you guys did too, Birds of Prey was wrong.
Yeah, it had a lot of things different.
To
about
have
it.
a Birds of Prey movie without Batgirl was wrong.
Yeah.
To have Cassandra Cain in there not be Cassandra Cain was wrong. To
have her as Stephanie Brown, I don't see how fucking hard that is.
Cause I don't want a Mexican in that movie. Fuck off.
she was Asian.
Why is her name Brown then?
She was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl. But
Cassandra Cain was Asian. I'll give him that. That's the one thing.
That's the only thing they got right.
That's the only thing they got right.
I'll give them that, and that's all they get.
Yeah, and you have no say.
Cassandra Cain's supposed to be a mute who could whoop your ass without thinking.
Yes, she was trained to talk with her fists.
Yeah, not be a pickpocket in a cast who swallows a diamond and has to shit it out.
That's legitimately a storyline from Stephanie Brown's fucking spoiler comics.
Yes, and another thing they ruined Zaz. They raped that character. I'm sorry. As much as I wanted to see them prosper with that, and there's no way in hell he would be friends with Sionis.
Sionis and Zaz are two way different people.
Sionis would try to pay to control Zaz to where it would be a Joker situation, like how Rage tried to get Joker to do Batman and Robin and Under the Red Hood, and then Robin ended up dying.
Yeah.
That would be the same situation. But Black Mask was done wrong. He was way too emotional.
I love it.
That's right, yeah.
And, like, is that a snot bubble? Oh, ew, no. Kill her, too. Like, dude, you played Obi-Wan. What the fuck? Fuck. Halfway through the movie, you're wearing two-piece suits where Elton John would say, no.
No.
Not happening, Buster. Get that away from me.
Fuck.
You crying about someone else getting attention in his club? It's like, dance, get on the table, take your fucking clothes off. You're gonna...
I'm gonna stab you.
Everyone get the fuck out!
Everyone, I'm stabbing him.
The only things that I truly... And they killed the fucker off!
Yeah. The one thing I could see them going with that is, like, they don't want to know that the big boss is dead, so they get someone else that's named Roman, and then just give him the last name Sionis. And then he has the Roman Sionis that we know, possibly, to fix that shit.
Or...
I'd be okay with that.
And then, I mean, Black Canary was done alright, but I think you can't have Black Canary... And she was supposed to be, like, the daughter of Dinah and Oliver. So, yeah, that's how they explain that in this movie, because... How
it seems like they're trying to explain a lot of shit in a lot of different ways to explain why things are so different from the comics.
They're trying to make a multiverse movie without calling it a multiverse movie and pulling everything out from the multiverse.
Yeah,
because you had this version of Cassandra Cain, you had this version of Harley, you had this version of Canary, you had this version of Huntress. Huntress was probably the only thing I could say was done perfectly.
Yes, yes, because they used the one from Justice League,
and I can't remember the name of the cop, but she was done well.
She's the one that's basically...
She's basically the female version of Question.
Yes, yes.
And I actually liked how they went about it. Plus, she had one of my favorite shirts that now you have a copy of.
Yeah. I shaved my balls for this.
But to have Black Canary without another Black Canary or Oliver Queen Green Arrow, it's confusing. It's way too much.
I think they need to start from ground zero and make a Justice Society movie, and then go from there if they really wanted to adapt their characters like that.
Well, see, and that's where I think James Gunn might be able to make something happen. As scared as I am of it, I think that would be the smartest thing to go.
Because I would kill to see a fucking Wildcat on screen, like a live-action Wildcat, full cat suit. Like, it doesn't even have to be like full cat suit. It could resemble it maybe a little bit, but just black suit. He's got the fucking boxing wraps around his hands, maybe some boxing shoes or something like that. And he's just a dude that likes to fight people.
But then you're gonna have those rejected fans who only have comic knowledge or superhero knowledge because they watch the movies, saying, "Well, they're just trying to copy Black Panther and make him white."
This guy's been around since before Black Panther, though. Shut up. Shut up, though.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Because it's like, isn't fucking Wildcat Italian in that one? Isn't he like out of New York or something like that? He's from the boroughs?
It's not gonna matter. They're gonna look at that and just be like, "Well, he looks the same. It's the same kind of costume. Some dude in a cat costume fighting people." They're not gonna give a shit. They're not gonna know.
T'Challa had superpowers. This guy's got nothing. He's got his fists. Fuck.
Just like when people were calling out Dr. Fate. Well, it's basically just Doctor Strange. DC's copying. Like,
Dr. Fate came out first. Fuck. Granted, their magic was very different.
Yes.
In the movies, yeah.
I mean,
like, they gave Doctor Strange the Inception magic, and then they gave Dr. Fate like the sort of like a geometry-based magic, almost like the mirror dimension. I would see, kind of, but
I would call it more mystic.
Mystic?
more mystic magic, but also
Maybe we should,
which
like...
brings up Black Adam.
Okay, yeah. But
Black
probably
Adam
right
is
after
also-
this point, we should probably get back onto the other stuff. Because otherwise, it's going to be a comic, like, solid podcast.
Well, I mean, isn't that the whole point of your podcast?
Well, the whole point is, like, all the other forms of media as well. Like, it's because we are stuck on the books. We're stuck on books to...
Well, I mean, technically, comic books can be thrown in with books.
Well, that's what I mean. Is like, we're stuck on the books. We're not getting into
what's
the
your
other stuff.
problem
as well.
there, mister?
Oh, I'm just saying, maybe
We're
people...
still following the prompt here, Dick.
Okay, fine. Let's go.
No,
Black Adam, shit movie. What?
We're going to start talking about cheeses now. All right?
No, I actually liked Black Adam. I like where they wanted to go with it. It sucks how it happened, though.
Yeah, I think after watching it again, I think they tried, just like with Batman vs Superman, they tried to do too much in one.
Yes.
They
I
tried
loved Atom Smasher. I loved a lot of things about the movie, but they
Atom
didn't do it
Smasher
better.
was done well. Hawkman was fucking damn near perfect. I loved Dr. Fate. He's the best part of the movie.
Pierce Brosnan was really good as Dr. Fate.
Pierce knew what the fuck he was doing.
Oh, yeah.
Dwayne Johnson, still to me, just plays Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
It's like I was watching the dude from Jungle Cruise in a costume.
Yeah. You're not wrong at all.
I mean, he's not trying to change anything. He's just got that stoic look, that monotone soprano, straightforward voice. Thinking he's playing a different character, it's just a different...
He's playing the character from Doom.
It's just a different shirt he's wearing. And... yes, they tried to capture greatness in a bottle because it connected everything. It connected the Justice Society. It connected the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker because you had Harcourt. You were connecting Snyder's world because you had Superman. You were connecting a whole new world because of Kahndaq.
Yeah.
And it tried to deliver, but another problem was Dwayne Johnson's sole purpose was to make him fight Superman. He didn't give a fuck about Shazam. He didn't like Shazam. Because he didn't want to do a cameo in Shazam 2. He didn't want to do a cameo in The Flash. He didn't want to do a cameo in any other movie unless the movie's about him and him alone. He's got the Will Smith ego.
Which sucks because, like, you can have, like, the most perfect adaptation, like, done as far as, like, characters are accurate to the source material, you have the right setting, you have the right time, everyone's aged up about how it goes. It's intervention from either the studio or actors that don't want to do continuations like they should, or like continue with their own contracts that they've signed up for and want to change shit depending on what they feel is right.
Yeah.
Other than what the director like states what he wants to do, which they've been hired on to do that. So what the fuck? Like,
but it's all studio interference.
that? Yeah,
Like how even with Marvel, it happened in Ant-Man. Edgar Wright was supposed to direct Ant-Man. Due to creational differences, Marvel said, "Kick fucking rocks. We'll find someone else." Same thing happened with Doctor Strange. A percentage of it was already filmed and ready to go. So Sam Raimi was picked on because of creational differences, to where he had to try and match what was already done with his own version of filmmaking.
yeah.
And studios are doing that too much right now, and DC and Warner Brothers doesn't know what the fuck to do with DC.
At all. Like James Gunn basically like tugging them by the balls and just saying like, hey,
Like the only thing that I think they've been doing right lately is the Batman.
yeah.
That
But I mean,
that
like,
new Batman movie was probably the closest thing they get to success.
yeah. But look at the fucking success of like Batman in general. Half of the not even half. 75% of the DC comic books coming out now are Batman books.
Well, about 75% of DC media is Batman because they know that's the only thing that sells. Only thing that anyone gives a shit about.
We were at our fucking local comic shop, and we went inside and looked at the DC section, literally the graphic novels. Like, what? Maybe 5% of that was Green Arrow, if that. And, like, 25 was, like, Superman. Fucking, what was that?
42 was like Batman.
Yeah, it was like 42 was like Batman. Almost, like, under half, but still it was a lot. And then, like, everything else is, like, miscellaneous stories here. You had Mr. Miracle, which I think fucking needs his own movie.
So does James Gunn. He's trying to do that.
I would fucking love a Mr. Miracle movie.
But yeah, to veer off from the comic aspect, because I've said my piece about DC.
Yes.
Do better, please.
Do better. Jurassic Park.
All right, we're going to real books now, huh?
Mm-hmm. Well, comic books I'd say are real books. They have their own genuine stories, but
because Jurassic Park, after you read the books and see the differences in the movie, because the book probably should have made the movie rated R easily.
Oh yeah, I saw a TikTok where it was like someone had did like cells of like scenes from the book if they were done in the movie, and it's like easy horror movie, easy summer blockbuster horror movie.
Oh yeah, because mainly with how Dennis Nedry died, he was blinded, he was trying to find the river, and he was freaking out. The Dilophosaur was not a 3-foot tall monster with fans. It was something that was about 7 to 8 feet tall, you know, Joe on his tiptoes. But
it was like almost as big as like one of the fucking velociraptors, but bigger.
It was taller than the Jeep.
Yeah.
And after he had fallen over and he was blind, or not, before he fell over, the Dilophosaur used its talon and sliced his stomach open.
I don't even think they spit venom, did they?
Yeah, they did.
They did?
It was still a blinding thing.
Okay.
And his intestines were pouring out. He was holding them, just that vivid image alone, and then having the darkness of the rain and the sound and fear of being in the jungle. Mm-hmm. And then he ended up falling over, and then he feels the teeth pierce down on both of his temples on each side of his head, and
right.
it's lifted up.
Which is where you kind of get like in as much as you hated Jurassic Park 3 with the velociraptors on Peter Yudowski's head. Mm. That's like more so in line with the original book.
But they were using him as a trap.
Yes.
It is a happy mixture, yes, and that is one thing that kind of irritates me about the Jurassic Park series. Every movie uses tropes from the first book.
Yeah.
When they could have all been in the first movie. Like, the first movie had nothing to do with the pteranodons, had nothing to do with the rides, had no time with the stegosauruses or the main reason why they were trying to get back to the visitor center, which was because they saw the outgoing ship that had a baby raptor on it that was probably fucking eating people. Mm-hmm. And they wanted to call the mainland to say stop the ship. None of that made it to the movie. So realistically, like you had the main scenes, like the main road. You had the Dennis Nedry scene. You had John Hammond was done all wrong.
John Hammond's a fucking asshole in the comics.
And John Hammond gets John Hammond gets knocked over by a baby T-Rex and eaten by the baby T-Rex.
Like halfway through the book, he's already thinking about ways to make a second theme park.
Yes. And
after like people have been eaten already.
And Dr. Wu was there the whole time. Everyone on the island. There was still about 50 Jurassic Park workers on the island.
Yeah. Wu was one of the top ones. Like he was basically in Samuel Jackson's place, right?
Basically. And let's talk about Donald Gennaro, the lawyer.
Oh, fuck. He's like a fucking action hero in the fucking
The
books.
lawyer was a fucking legend in there. He was finding like raptor nests and shit. He was fighting the raptors head on. He made it to the end of the fucking book.
Jeff Goldblum's character and the lawyer basically swapped places.
Yes.
Yeah.
So realistically, I would say maybe 40% of the book made it to the movie, and that's really sad.
Yeah, but if you don't know the book going in, and it's a Steven Spielberg movie, it's a fucking fantastic movie. It's fun as shit.
Yes.
Like, if you don't take that into account, that's the thing about adaptations that really irks people, is that they know the source material. Like, a lot of people going into the movie are going to be the laymen. Like, people who haven't read the book before, even though they say they've wanted to, but then they check out the movie ahead of time.
They read Cliff Notes.
They've read the Cliff Notes and said, like, oh, yeah, that was pretty good, yeah. Which, like, I don't fault that. If you enjoy the movie, enjoy the movie. But, like, from people that know the source material and what this is supposed to be, it just, like, it hits a different area that isn't really positive.
But then that also takes me to The Lost World, which is the sequel.
Yeah.
And that was speed-runned, too, because the book didn't even exist yet. The book wasn't even done yet.
Oh, yeah. It was, like, made at the same... It's kind of like what they did with Scott Pilgrim vs. the World when they were making the movie and the comics at the same time. Like, there was a point where the last book was being written and Brian Lee O'Malley was still in the middle of writing the book as the movie was being done. And there was a point where the movie was going to have a different ending from the book, so that they would have different aspects to them. Like, and that was going to be like a canon thing. Like, you could watch the movie and get a different ending than in the book. Because in the movie, have you watched the movie yet?
Yeah, I've seen the movie.
So in the movie, he was supposed to end up with Knives Chow.
Yeah.
Like that was canon, and then Ramona was supposed to like move away somewhere. Then it was supposed to be like they had a connection the whole time, and like they were better for each other. Like they worked off of each other a lot more. But in the books, like Knives Chow is kind of written off a little bit. Like she has her own thing going on, and she's kind of over Scott at this point. And you don't really have that in the movies. You don't have that, or in the movie. Like, you don't have enough time to develop Knives Chow as, like, a full-fledged character. Because she basically becomes a ninja halfway through.
Yeah.
Her dad is a samurai halfway through the book. Or halfway through the book series. And he's also in the game. He's a mystery character that you can fight.
Yeah, no, I know the game, yeah.
No, yeah, Mr. Chow's fucking badass. I love him.
Yeah, but, like, even worse, only about 10% of the Lost World book made it to the movie.
Yeah.
It was so fucking different. It was almost an entirely different entity.
Oh, by the way, Mr. Chow looks like Hiroyuki Sanada. Like, he legitimately looks like him. He's fucking fun.
He's just an absolute legend, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'll watch anything that motherfucker's in.
Dude, you want to get into Mortal Kombat now?
But, well, let's talk about one.
Okay.
Let's talk about two more books. One we'll make a little positive, and one we'll say what the fuck just happened.
Okay. Where do you want to go with the positive?
The positive one, Of Mice and Men.
Okay.
The one with Malkovich and Gary Sinise,
Yes.
I think was almost identical to what happened in the book.
Perfect.
Granted, the book was only about 180 pages long.
It's that meme with the fucking Homelander. It's perfect. Perfect. Down to the last minute details.
But it was such an emotional ride and roller coaster to where it followed so much to where you had to forget that it was a book.
You had the dog scenes as well, which was such like a little bit of the book. Like the old man's afraid to like let go of his dog because he's so old. He knows he's gonna die. He knows he's gonna die soon, but he loves his dog so much. It has no bearing on the plot, but it's just like it's there, and you love this character a little bit more.
Or like how, not George. George was the
Lenny.
Thank you. Lenny was so focused on the rabbits and the animals, and how hard his hand was, and how heavy his hand was. Better.
He was super strong, super
And
fucking.
he didn't know
big.
what he was doing. He was hurting people, and it showed every time because he was getting.
You okay?
Just getting emotional and remembering the movie.
It's a good movie. It's such a good movie.
And George always getting scared for him because that's basically his little brother.
Yeah.
And trying to protect him, do whatever he can, but it's making it harder and harder because at every job it's Lenny does something or Lenny did this. Or even that scene where it built up with the black character.
Crooks, yeah.
Crooks. And he had that emotional bond with Crooks. And he's like, because he's registering that Lenny is mentally behind, let's say.
And he genuinely just has like nothing but good intent.
He's basically just trying to talk to Crooks as a dude.
Yeah, and he's not used to that. Like he's
and Crooks is letting his guard down, and he makes a friend, which is a cool thing because that was like 10 pages out of the whole fucking book.
yeah.
And such an important turn. And then when you get to the finale of him in the woods and everyone's charging after him with the guns and shit,
Where Curly basically like got a whole army together to get this fucking dude. Because he doesn't know that he's mentally handicapped. He thinks he's just a dude after his fucking girl.
mm-hmm. And then George has to make the ultimate decision. Just look down and think about the rabbits. And I remember doing the study, and we had to have a topic discussion in American Lit class. Do you think it was better for George to do it, or for the gang to do it? I'm like, dude, it would have been miles better for George to do it. It would have been one and done. He didn't want to hurt his friend. He wanted it to be immediate. They would have tortured his ass.
Exactly.
And can't guarantee how many of them are going to make it through. But
Yeah.
Yeah, he would have been like Michael in fucking Halloween Kills.
well, he was like
Yeah.
that in the cabin when everyone was making fun of him too. Before George had to come in and
Yeah, when Curly like got his hand broken by Lenny just like squeezing.
yeah. And another one that actually very emotional because it followed a lot of it was the Green Mile.
Yeah. Oh my God, Green Mile.
The Green Mile wasn't even one book. There were 7 mini books that were about the length of like Magic Treehouse books.
Yeah, it was basically like explaining his time at prison, right?
And what I liked about that is it was able to carry so much. And with the movie being 3 hours long, you got so much of all of that.
Oh my god! And then
You
that
had such
ending,
an
just like
emotional-
it, just the topping.
You had such the emotional connection to John Coffey when it was his time to have to get executed. No matter what they did, they knew that he was innocent and that they could prove it, but they couldn't do it.
It was too far at this point. And fucking.
Even John Coffey was like, "I'm tired of running. I'm tired, boss." So like, dude, you're just accepting what the fuck's going on, and you got to hate Percy on the proper fucking level, and we're so excited when he got what he did.
Oh shit!
Wild Bill scared you to be around. Mr. Jingles was your own connection. You felt like he was your friend. Oddly enough, some of the best adaptations are Stephen King books, whereas unfortunately, some of the worst adaptations are also Stephen King books.
Yeah.
Now, one of the books that wasn't ever a book to begin with is still one of the worst movies that Stephen King has put out.
Maximum Overdrive?
Not that one. That one was a book, and that was
That one.
that one was fantastic. Don't you fucking spoil the name of the Green Goblin truck,
Bro, come on. AC/DC soundtrack
I
on that shit?
fucking love Maximum Overdrive.
That movie was so bad.
It's so bad, but it's so fun. You watch it with friends, it's just like everyone's screaming around the table, "We made you!" Now, I'm talking about, I think it was called the Night Scratcher?
The Night Stalker.
Night Stalker? The cat people. The weird cat people where the mom's boinking her son. Night Howlers?
I think it was Night Stalkers.
Night Stalker? Okay, Night Stalkers then.
Because I know he made one of the
It was like
cat
that weird one with the cats and everything, and like it was never a book to begin with, and it had such a weird plot. And plus, you had the son boinking his mom for no reason.
in the cut.
In the cut, motherfucker.
But
I wanted to do it first, and then he took it from me. Fuck.
Mark Hamill was also in that movie for no reason.
yeah, but I
He
mean,
was a cop. He was a one-off cop.
Well, I mean, look
God
at the,
damn it, he did
Look at the
best.
other
Yeah, he
Stephen
did.
King, but look at the other Stephen King properties that weren't really books that still got great movies, like 1408, Children of the Corn. Those were like 2-page long short stories.
Well, those are fucking awesome. Like, what was it? The one that was on Netflix, In the Tall Grass.
Yep, I remember that one.
That one was pretty good. Confusing as shit, but it was really good.
But Gerald's Game too.
Gerald's Game was fucking anxiety-inducing. Imagine that shit. You're just stuck to a fucking bedpost, and that's like that's the whole movie. This. Do you know the movie?
It was a better 50 Shades than 50 Shades.
Batteries on low.
Okay,
I just have to plug it in. But like, have you ever heard of Gerald's Game?
No.
The whole like story about it.
It's
is
not like
basically
Halo, right? It's not like Kilimanjaro, right?
Oh no.
No.
No, like the whole plot of the movie is that this couple's trying to rekindle their love for each other. I believe that the husband is abusive or something like that, like emotionally abusive.
More so in the book, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
In the story, yes.
So basically, they try to rekindle their love for each other. Like after like a long time, they just kind of gotten jaded, and they get away to this like private, secluded cabin.
Okay.
And when they try to like do some intimacy, like intimate actions, like
As a couple do.
he handcuffs her to the bed, and it's supposed to get a little kinky,
As a
and then he
couple
ends up having a heart attack and then dying on top of her. And then she's just stuck there with her handcuffed to the bedpost.
It's the fucking Family Guy joke of Quagmire all over again.
Yes, I think that was a reference to Gerald's Game. Yeah. So yeah, the whole movie is about her like willingness to survive this like past trauma as well. Plays into the movie a lot because of her fucking dad. I hated her fucking dad. And then
That's kind of like Split too with Casey's uncle.
my god, Split. Shit, I can't even remember if that was a book or not.
It was not.
It was not.
It was actually
fool me.
It was actually something that came off of M. Night Shyamalan's brain because it started with Unbreakable.
Well, see, M. Night Shyamalan can do really good shit when he doesn't fuck with shit, you know?
See, M. Night Shyamalan.
So wait.
If you're gonna blame him for Avatar, that was not his fault.
No, it wasn't. He actually wanted to do a good job in the.
Yeah, he wanted to follow the source material. I'll give him that.
That was studio interference.
Yeah, that was.
I did hear about that story. I'm like, wow, that's fucking stupid. That he was actually willing to do it because he's like, yeah, I actually love Avatar, and they're like, no, do it this way. It's like,
You serious?
Dumb.
Are you serious? It's J. Jonah Jameson. It's like, you serious? Pay for what? Standing there?
Basically.
No, but yeah, Gerald's Game is like the whole thing is just like her overcoming this almost unmovable obstacle and her willingness to go about it. Because I think she even gets her leg gnawed by a fucking dog at one point.
It was nibbled on, yeah.
It was nibbled on. But the dog eats the husband, I believe, right?
Huh.
It's like a wild dog.
Yeah.
Like, it's a stray dog, and then she ends up getting into the cabin somehow. I guess the door was unlocked. And then it just eats the husband. And then she, nibbles on her leg a little bit, so she's losing blood.
Right.
She's losing a lot of blood. And then there's this whole plot point about, what was his name? The Moonlight Killer or something like that? The Moonlight Stalker?
Something like that, yeah.
It's like this really deformed, it's this deformed-looking guy that's been going around killing women.
I think you're thinking of Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker.
Yeah, that's a real guy.
No, I feel like I've heard of the actual like Moonlight Stalker. Like, I feel like I've heard that reference somewhere, but like I've never seen that movie.
But there's this whole plot point if like she's hallucinating the whole time too. So it's a matter of if this guy that's coming into her cabin is real or not. Because he just comes in and he'll just stare at her from the corner, and it's like dim, like it's a dim corner, so you can only really see his eyes. Right. And it's just like, is this guy real or is he not there at all? Until like the ending where it's like everything is resolved, and then you. Like, all of her mindset comes back to her, and then she has the willingness to get out of the handcuffs. I think she ends up just, like, scraping the shit out of her hand, or she ends up sawing, like, the actual bedpost or something like that.
I don't remember.
Like, she breaks the bedpost, or she gets out and her hand's all fucking bloodied and shit. She gets in the car, and then she gets away, and I'm not going to spoil the ending in case you want to watch it, but it's like, or in case anyone hasn't seen it, because it's a really good adaptation, and...
It's a better 50 Shades than 50 Shades.
Yes, because it has survival. You have to survive this shit.
Has actual BDSM.
Yes.
His actual stakes.
It has BDSM crossed with an escape room.
But
My favorite.
Yeah.
Another piss poor book adaptation.
The Stand? No, The Stand was actually pretty good.
I was about to really? But
Salem's Lot?
One more time?
No, I like Salem's Lot. I like a lot of Stephen King shit.
Poor adaptations.
I know not a lot of people like it. Like,
I mean, Harry Potter. We could get Jeff here for a fucking.
Oh my god, he talked for about an hour about that shit. Even more.
I don't know if it was that bad of an adaptation, but was it Dark Tower? Was that one? That good?
Oh god, no!
That was the worst. That's one of the worst. Okay, I think it was voted the worst.
Okay,
adaptation.
I've seen part of it, and it's like I don't know any of the source material, but it seems like an okay-ish movie.
The movie by itself is like
The Dark Tower. What it is it's stretched over 7 fucking novels.
One of them had to do with the fucking train. And that wasn't even in the movie.
Yeah. Well, they cut the movie down to like an hour and 45 minutes. How are you going to...
It was like essentially the beginning and end book.
How are you going to cover 7 motherfucking books in an hour and a half?
You have to make this a miniseries at least.
At the very least.
They need to bring it back. It's just like Akira. Because that's the whole point of Akira. Is like they try to shove so much into the movie. So it's like there's way too much in the manga. You can't cover it in an hour and a half movie.
You need a series for Akira.
Or at least some
2 movies.
You need
2 movies at least, yeah.
Kind of like, what was it, Kill Bill? They had like part 1, part 2?
Yeah. At the very least, a 3-hour-long movie. You can cover a lot more than you think in 3 hours.
Think about all the recent movies that have been coming out lately. Oh my god.
I mean, The Batman, 3 hours. Endgame, 3 hours. Infinity War, a little under 3 hours.
But I'm trying to think, because what started that? Because the whole point of why Kill Bill was going to be like a whole 3-hour movie was there was a movie that came out before that, and it was like, that's way too long. People can't sit through that. And that's why Kill Bill got turned into a 2-parter movie.
I think it was a samurai movie or something like that.
I think, well, a lot of people were bitching that Titanic was too long.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was.
And then when that came out, it was on 2 discs, or like 2 tapes, essentially.
Yeah. And then you had to watch the last half hour on a separate tape.
Yeah.
So you had to take yourself out of the movie to find the second tape to watch the last bit of the movie.
Right. But now people have gotten smart.
Installing World of Warcraft on your fucking PC.
Yeah. See, but now people have gotten smart and actually hit the pause button, so that's good.
Yeah. Well, now we have TiVo, so.
But, I mean, yeah. Harry Potter was a piss poor reference. Hunger Games had a lot of shit missing out. I mean, we covered this in the very beginning, actually.
Yes. Again, I just wanted to bring it back to Akira.
Hunger Games was a piss poor adaptation of Battle Royale. I'll say it.
Yes. Which is a piss poor adaptation of Japanese material.
Yes.
No.
But I enjoyed Battle Royale for what it was. Like,
Yeah.
to be honest, I know very little about the source. This is going back to like not knowing the source material. You can get a lot more enjoyment out of the movie. But like as soon as you know the source material, it's just like takes you out. It fucking takes you out and beats you with a bat. I mean, am I wrong?
Yeah.
You're wrong.
It takes you out to the fucking baseball field and beef stews your ass.
Delicious.
I mean, you want to get really close to piss poor material on books?
Okay, let's do the worst.
Disney movies.
well, I mean,
You're not wrong.
Hunchback of Notre fucking Dame. One of my favorite Disney movies ever. One of the worst adaptations of the story.
Yeah.
Because the story is so macabre, gruesome, and dismal.
Frollo isn't even much of a villain in the original source material. He's like
he's a
cunt, but he's a cunt with morals almost.
He's a cunt with purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even remember Phoebus really.
Phoebus was like a generic hero story.
Phoebus was kind of just there to try to save Esmeralda, but when Esmeralda died, Quasimodo starved himself and laid on top of her body until he died of starvation.
Exactly.
After killing Frollo, and I'm like, okay, all this shit, and the gargoyles never existed. I understand that's a Disney trope, making inanimate things or animals your best friends.
Yeah.
Pour the wine and cut the cheese.
You need to have a side goofy character, otherwise the movie's going to take a different direction, which Disney didn't want to do.
That movie didn't need the gargoyles, though. It didn't need it. It was already so like rich in story with Quasimodo and Esmeralda and Phoebus. Phoebus was a great character.
Look at what happened when Disney took themselves serious with Brother Bear. Oh. Yeah, you had
Cut me deep now.
Well, I say when you also
You
put
had-
that with Black Cauldron too.
Black Cauldron, like that. Oh, because D&D jokes. Let's go.
I was like, isn't that the whole point? Is that it's during the whole Disney, the Dark Era or Dark Age?
The Dark Age of Disney. Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
because you had the comic person in the Moose, the two Moose.
Yes.
The Canadian people, but you still had a very heartfelt story. People can watch Brother Bear and tear up because of what movie it is.
Wasn't it like proclaimed by Aboriginal people? Not Aboriginal. Fuck. I gotta cut that out because I'm gonna get fucking crucified. By Native Americans of Alaska for their portrayal of the Great Spirits and everything. Wasn't it like?
I think so. I'm not entirely sure, but I think so.
I swear I heard something about that. But if I'm wrong, please tell me. I want to get this right.
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
You're dying now. Please kill me. Die.
The bees.
The bees.
Yeah, that's another shitty book. Anyway, but
that was a story that benefited from having the '70s movie made.
yes. But to move on from books,
That's a different aspect. Source materials that were sucky that got better when they made a fucking movie out of it. That's few and far between.
I'll say it. The Mask. Shut up. No.
You know what?
You're not
Those
wrong.
are two different mediums, and you fucking know.
They are very two different mediums.
I mean, I'll
But
say
it's
it.
still great, regardless of
I'll say it, I
each one.
agree.
You didn't like the comic?
It's a totally different direction. It
is
is
very-
very.
oh my God.
I'm not saying I don't like the comic. I'm saying it wasn't for me,
That's fair.
but The Mask was. Because I'm a very 90s kid and Jim Carrey helped raise my childhood.
Dude, that fucking movie is fantastic.
It
I
is.
love that movie.
That man ran 1994 with Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura, and The Mask. All #1 movies within 3 months of each other.
Ace Ventura was such a good adaptation of, like, because I heard it was supposed to be an adaptation of fucking Sherlock Holmes in a different fashion.
Huh, okay.
Kind of.
I heard it was based off of Sherlock Holmes, like, taking a different direction with it, though. And yeah, fucking, it worked so fucking well. That's another aspect of this this topic is like source materials that even though they take like a big stride from the original, are still good in their own right.
You're right. Batman's an amazing version of Zorro.
Fuck, dude, exactly. And then Zorro has his own identity as well. So you have like now two like critically acclaimed icons
But
that
yet-
you can base like different characters on. You could get really good stories. You could have them cross over with fucking Batman by Gaslight and fucking Zorro and everything.
But yet again, here we are, rich, privileged white people taking things from foreigners. But
Go on.
I mean, fuck, we already took the state of California.
That was in the Zorro movie.
That's the whole point of the second Zorro movie.
Well, I mean,
But,
Have you watched that Zorro movie?
no.
It's so fucking good. I love it.
I feel like I have, but it's probably been like that long, you know.
I say the first one was better, but they're both fucking great.
That gave Antonio Banderas the role as Puss in Boots.
Yes.
It did.
Gotcha.
By the way, that new movie
That
apparently
Puss
is
in
doing
Boots
very
is
good.
better than Avatar.
That new movie is apparently doing very good. Yeah.
Which one? The Puss in Boots one? Or
Yeah, the new Puss in Boots movie is doing very
I
good.
saw a commercial of that not so long ago. I was like, oh,
It looks
they're
entertaining.
Making a sequel to it now.
But,
Oh, it's not a sequel. It's like I think it's they're revamping it or
well,
something.
no,
like that.
it's a
it a
later
sequel?
version. It's a
Oh,
later
it's
film.
because they had there was the original Puss in Boots one where they go to
Yeah.
Woodstock.
Yeah, because they were still connecting the world, which now DreamWorks now has their own cinematic world.
Okay, all
They're
right.
basically saying everything's connected, like Kung Fu Panda, Shrek,
Oh, I didn't realize
everything,
that.
all of that. Like you see it in their new intro because they have a new version of the DreamWorks logo.
Okay.
Where it goes across all of their movies like it's in one world.
So is it kind of like the whole Disney thing where it's like the intro and credits like make all the universes connected in some weird fashion?
Like the Marvel logo essentially.
Gotcha.
yeah, kind of. Which this will also lead into the new Shrek movie that they're trying to do, which is supposed to be a continuation.
Okay.
A rebooted continuation, but they're calling it Shrek 5. Kind of like how Scream was a reboot, but still Scream 5.
Right.
Okay.
Now,
A requel, if you will.
yes, a requel. But let's talk
Reeking
about
stinky.
let's talk about the spot where I know Juby can have a voice.
I know. I've been talking much.
You've
this
been
whole time.
very, very like just listening
Well, I mean, he's
intently.
not much of a comic book person.
Well, I've only
book
seen
person.
so many DC movies,
You've
and I've
seen
seen
his room?
a good chunk of Marvel movies. I like games. What can I say? I'm playing
The
the game
Double
right now,
Dragon
but let's not talk about
Which
that.
is exactly why we're going into.
I've never seen Double Dragon. That
You never saw the movie Double Dragon?
no, I heard it's a piece of
I
shit.
thought of all
right?
people you would have seen that.
Yeah, I've seen many screenshots of it.
Well, guess what we're watching next week?
It's garbage.
It better be Jean-Claude Van Damme. I still haven't seen the Street Fighter movie either.
Oh fuck! That you know
Guess
what?
what we're ordering next week?
I
you.
enjoyed that movie purely because it's garbage, and Raul Julia pulls off fucking M. Bison very
Right,
well.
here we are into the video game adaptation version where I know Juby can say something.
Mortal Kombat.
We'll get to
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Never mind.
Quick, change the channel.
We'll get to that. When we're talking about things like Street Fighter, I know he stayed away from the Legend of Chun-Li movie. For
and good on you.
For
Good on
good
you.
reason. You watched the trailer and you're like, my nuts itch.
Well, I wanted to, but then years later I saw the trailer. I was like, wow, this looks like a piece of shit.
This is garbage.
I mean, fuck. The movie
I like the actress that plays Chun Li. I don't think she's Chun Li though.
No. Dude.
No,
She's too white.
She basically played Cammy.
Yeah, if she was Cammy, I'd be all over that shit.
Like, my whole thing about that movie is, the movie was so bad, you had to get Liu Kang from Mortal Kombat to play Gin.
Yeah.
Okay, so so if she played Cammy, would you have it rather be called Operation Cannon Spike, the movie?
Yes.
Because the movie plays out more like an underground military operation.
I mean, hell, you have like as piss poor of a fucking like intro it was. You have fucking Nash in there.
You have
Charlie Nash in the fucking movie.
Vega, done by Apple from the Black Eyed Peas, which actually to me was not that bad.
Oh, so
If you
can't
had
say
him in
that.
like a more like Spanish garb, I would like at least a sash. Give him at least a
But
sash or
his-
something.
his
Shirtless with a jacket on, make him a fucking egotistical prick.
Yeah, but his mask was perfect, and he fought with the mask on.
That's
whereas
fair.
the one from '94 didn't.
That's fair, and that does fuck with the lore of Vega, where he fights with a mask to protect his face. Like, yeah.
But look, I was gonna say you can't say that it's special because Charlie's in there. He was in the.
He was in there, but I said it was like a piss.
No,
poor,
but he
like,
was also in the
introduction.
Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, Carlos Charlie Blanco. Right?
Fuck off with that shit, dude.
But fuck, you want to talk about?
Jack Dulcim is a fucking bald scientist. Didn't even stretch anywhere.
Well, you
The
know.
thing he stretched was his words.
Right before the explosion that killed them both.
And dude, let's talk about Balrog.
Oh god. Well, no,
Michael Clark Duncan as Balrog was probably the only thing they did right.
that
in
worked
that
very
movie.
well. Honestly, I
But
like
he was
that.
only in the movie for 45 seconds.
Yeah.
And
I forget if he died or not. I can't remember.
I think so. Neil McDonough, the guy who played Damien Dark.
I would have rather them got Raul Julia back.
Yeah, resurrect his ass.
Resurrect his ass. Fucking
Find a way.
Bring it back right now.
Fuck, give him the cure to cancer, but the government won't tell you the truth. But
Thanks.
Fucking Robin Williams is fucking M. Bison. Let's go.
Thanks,
hey,
government.
here's my money.
You have that psycho power.
The American come to fight. Oh. You ain't never met a friend like me.
Dude, I watched the hell out of that.
For me, it was Tuesday.
For me, it was a Tuesday.
It's not like Elvis movie now.
But nah, the Street Fighter movie, they knew it was bad, but you had some great people in the first one.
Aquafina's Chun-Li.
Huh? We're talking about the first one, bud. Stay on track. Don't give me my wet dreams yet.
For tonight.
I'm still trying to get Aquafina in Mortal Kombat, but that's not happening.
Fuck.
I love that drink.
Aquafina. Every water's named...
Evian, Dasani.
I'll be here all
Every
night.
water is named Crystal something. Crystal Geyser, Crystal... Aquafina.
Aquafina. Arrowhead.
Yeah.
Evian. It proved his fucking friend wrong. Holy shit.
Well, now it's
that
Liquid
stretchy
Death.
guy from Street Fighter.
Now we're gonna have Liquid
yeah.
Death in the movie, alright?
Yeah. No, yeah, you didn't even have Ryu or Ken in The Legend of Chun-Li.
I think they were referenced at the end or something like that. Ryu was, yeah.
And he was specifically pronounced as Ryu.
Yeah, back when everyone thought it was Ryu rather than Ryu.
Yeah, and you had an
Asian bread.
You had an Asian dude pronouncing it, and he's like, yeah, Ryu something. I'm like, that's the most white pronunciation.
You are from fucking Japan, my guy.
I mean, at least it's better than Rue.
I'll tell you what. Fuck.
Yeah.
Rook.
Ryuk.
I'm Ryuk. Huh?
I'm Ryuk.
I'm from.
I'm Ryuk. Hear me suck.
I am from the Shinigami realm.
I love Willem Dafoe.
But no,
Shit, yeah, keep going.
like Double Dragon was really bad. It was back when, so long as you had the title and the names of the people,
It was gonna sell.
it was going to be fine. They didn't give a shit about the story. They didn't give a fuck.
Oh yeah.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation is a perfect good example of that. But
I thought you were gonna say it's a perfectly good movie. I was just like, huh? Huh? Yes, I do. Hey, you want to have some words out back? I know you can't stand on that ice.
maybe outside. How about that?
When you're outside, Ice is gonna kick your ass. Iceman's out there waiting for you right now, alright?
Wasn't it like Frank Welker that voiced fucking Shao Kahn in the first Mortal Kombat movie?
Well, he was in the suit and standing over everyone.
Scooby-Doo was Shao Kahn in the first Mortal Kombat movie.
Really?
Yeah, Frank Welker was.
They replaced him by the second one, but
Well, yeah, I know that, but still, that's crazy.
fucking awesome.
Yeah, I would never put that together.
But I mean, you had Street Fighter, which kind of followed a plot to a degree, but everything was so fresh and new. You didn't really have a whole thing planned out story-wise.
Yeah.
Like with Mortal Kombat, you only had the first 3 games to go off of by '95.
Did Third Strike come out by then, or was it like early 2000s?
What year was it again?
Fucking Street Fighter was
No,
The Street Fighter movie was '94. Mortal Kombat was '95.
So I don't think Third Strike was out yet.
I want to
I
say
think Alpha 2 may have been out.
No, I want to say Third Strike was out by then. If not, it would have been out probably by 3 years. It's hard to remember because the CPS3 was a thing, but there was only like 7 games made for it because then they all switched to 3D. Because it was that time. It was that time era where SNK and Capcom were like, "Oh, 3D's never gonna die," and then like 4 years later, 2D's never gonna die, and then 3D came out and
Initial release date May 12th, 1999.
But fuck,
Yeah.
you
Sorry,
want to talk
called it
about
2 years ago.
something that would probably suck. Let's talk about a Soul Calibur movie. I have little to no faith in people who were giving correction to Soul Calibur.
Yeah, especially after the Monster Hunter movie. Well, let's give it this.
Let's talk about it.
At least
honestly,
Mila Jovovich wanted to fuck the fat cat.
Well,
wanted to fuck
honestly,
the buff cat.
I thought the Monster Hunter movie, of all the Capcom adaptations that have come out with Mila Jovovich in
Resident
it,
Evil.
I think Monster Hunter was actually pretty good compared to any of the Resident Evil.
Okay, that's what I keep on getting the consensus of. It's the best out of like Resident Evil and all the fucking
Which is
other
funny
shit.
because on Google it's rated the lowest, and it's like, honestly, I thought it felt more like a fucking Monster Hunter movie as like a Monster Hunter game, where sure, she's a star, she's doing a little bit more stuff, but it's like You know who's also doing a lot of stuff? A lot of the side characters. Because what's Monster Hunter about? It's a cooperative game. You're all beating the shit out of the same monster.
That's fair.
All right, you got me.
It was an ensemble movie.
Yeah. Again, and of course she's going to do a lot of the cooler stuff, but it's not like she was like, one-shotting every monster. It's like,
She
no,
wasn't
it's a
putting quarters in her
cooperative effort.
shotgun and fucking just using
Right.
that like a bitch.
I think what probably would turned a lot of people off to that movie was the fact that it didn't feel like a Monster Hunter game where like you're smacking the shit out of it a billion times. It's like they're probably hitting it at most like 12 times. Okay. It's because a lot of the weapons are bouncing off of it because they got durable skin, which is why they use their skin as weapons and armor.
That's fair. All right.
So you gotta somehow kill that shit to earn it. So in that sense, yeah. So yeah, like in that sense, yeah, it's not the greatest movie, but honestly, I like the Monster Hunter movie. It wasn't too
Ripping
bad.
off the carpet, you little
Okay.
bitch.
At least we have something that
It's
you can
not-
sort of bounce off of us with.
Right?
So
Again,
that's good.
it's not a great movie, but it's a decent movie.
Well, I mean, thinking about
It's like the first Resident Evil movie.
like
I guess.
thinking about the history of Capcom movies, because Double Dragon was Capcom, right?
Yes. No.
No,
Or is that SNK?
that's Arxis.
Arxis.
That's a different company. Yeah.
The guys who make Guilty Gear.
Okay, so then Street Fighter.
They make
was
it. Oh shit. All right.
Yes.
Street Fighter was Capcom.
And then they lost Guilty Gear.
Where's
Then
my
they lost
Double
Guilty-
Dragon Guilty Gear crossover?
It's called
Is it actually crossover?
it's Code something. It's not a good game.
Code Geass?
it's Code Lyoko.
It's Code something. It's on the Switch. Fucking CJ sold me on it. And you know what? It's a piece of shit game.
It's a garbage game. Okay.
It's because he's an Arxis buff. He loves anything Arxis makes, even when it's shit.
Damn.
It's not a good game. It's a
okay.
terrible beat 'em up.
Because
But it's basically that game is a 2D Smash clone, all in sprites. It's your Arxis crossover game where it's anything Arxis made. It's gonna be
Like Potemkin's in the game,
except
and then-
DBZ because they don't own that.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
Anything that they've made, it's gonna be in there. So
Okay.
Double Dragon, Blaze Blue, Guilty Gear.
I keep on reading that Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue are like by the same company.
Because they lost the rights to Guilty Gear for like 2 years or something like that. So they had to make, they're like, well, we want to make
made a
another
clone
game
of it, essentially.
Yeah, so let's make a knockoff of our own game, kind of like what Mortal Kombat did, or what Midway did back in the day when 3D was coming a thing.
Now, if
they
you-
had war gods and all that
Oh
other shit.
yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, they're kind of the same vein.
Now, if you were to like basically commission your own Soul Calibur movie, who do you think would give it justice, at least to the nth degree?
Mila Jovovich.
Jesus Christ.
no one American.
Okay.
Fair.
Okay.
The only American you can allow in there is the only white motherfucker that was on the roster, and her name was Ivy.
Okay. So as Ivy, I'm going to hire Hitomi Tanaka. Let's go, boys.
Do it.
I mean, I would hire some of the guys from like the Tekken movie because they looked pretty dead on. To
The
their shit.
looks looked pretty dead on. The story was garbage.
I mean, that's Tekken in a nutshell, though.
That's fair.
I was about to say, yeah, welcome to Tekken, but
Get ready for the next story.
I definitely see that
on Tekken Island.
That movie is like an
Yeah.
alternate reality of what Tekken was. I didn't like the fact that it was Tekken City doing the Tekken tournament, so it's the Iron Fist tournament.
Well, what else are you gonna
really
do?
feel?
You're in Tekken Land. That's basically it.
I
Welcome to
fucking
Tekken
love
Land.
Tekken, and this shite will not stand.
And that's why you live in
The
Tekken
shit
Land.
wasn't even good enough for it.
This shite. You're shite, mate.
Look, man, it really was not that bad of a movie. Fuck off. But
I did like.
it was on G4's list of movies that don't suck, so you're wrong.
You must be wrong. TV told me so. All right.
Yeah, you know that TV company that doesn't exist anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're wrong. I have no proof, but you're wrong.
Here's my proof. Suck it.
Here's my proof right here. Hey, kid's a deer.
Yeah. Exactly. We went to Christmas tree last night.
In my road, red liver lips.
Eat rubber. It's,
Like, it's
eat my dust. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever, Russ.
Because Tekken was made by who? Was that also Capcom? Or was that Namco?
Namco.
Namco?
Okay.
The guys who make all the shitty.
So you
anime
can realistically have Pac-Man fighting
So
fucking.
you could technically have a Soul Calibur movie.
Yeah.
Because Namco got a movie off their hands with Tekken.
games. Yep.
I wanted a Pac-Man movie, but they had to go with Tekken.
A Pac-Man movie is nowhere near out of the fucking realm, dude. They made Sonic work twice.
We'll still have to see how Mario works.
Hopefully, I have faith.
Oh,
I do too. I believe it's
so
gonna
much
be
people
really
are
good.
giving that movie shit just because of Chris Pratt. Look at all the other good shit that they brought out because of it. Like, I
have good faith in that movie.
I have a lot of good faith. I'm even
I can't wait for the movie.
I'm overlooking Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, honestly.
No,
he looks fucking great.
The only thing I don't like about the movie so far is Chris Pratt. He's still the weakest link.
Let's go.
Let's go. Wahoo! It's like, man, the French did better. Come on.
The French were better Italians.
Oui. But
Mushroom Kingdom, yeah, we come.
That'd be hilarious. It's all the dubs.
Bad English dub.
Yeah, exactly. All the dubs in different countries, it's still just English, but it's just different accents.
well, I mean, if you want to talk about the Mario movie, we can. I have the DVD in my room.
Oh god.
Hey, that's a classic though. Reebok shoes. Let's go.
Where they were just hammered the whole time.
And that was another classic case of so long as you had the property name and the characters, no one gave a shit what you did.
I think Bob Hoskins was a good cast as Mario, though.
I
honestly.
think it would have actually worked. Tell you the truth, with his raspy voice, though, I think he would have worked better as Koopa.
Just saying though, it's not no Lou Albano. I still love Lou Albano.
Lou Albano,
I'd still say Lou Albano should have been Mario. Anyway, like John Leguizamo was alright, but he was still starting out.
He was like the way they had Luigi be in that movie. It wasn't Luigi.
It was like Waluigi.
Hey, not too wrong.
Kind of close.
They didn't even have Peach in the movie. They didn't want to bastardize.
They did the Mario Land version rather than Mario World.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. And let's talk about what they did to Toad.
Toad was a stoner. And he was great.
Toad was just a political activist with a spiral in his head, dude. He just came out the barbershop, fresh cut.
Fuck.
Like a cut, G.
He only had like 2 of the Koopa cousins. They weren't even Koopa cousins.
Spike and Iggy.
Yeah.
See, they didn't even make him sound like Toad. They didn't make him go like,
Which is why I have faith in Keegan-Michael Key. That man sounds just like him.
Yeah, when they introduced Toad, I thought it was pretty good, yeah.
honestly.
That one is perfectly fine.
The only
It's
thing
like,
I-
don't eat that, that'll kill you! That's the one instance of, like, a cartoon movie having an adaptation where, like, the comedy relief doesn't make you want to strangle the comedy relief.
Judge Dredd, Rob Schneider.
Fair.
Berserk with Puck. His whole point was that he's a comedy relief because that show's too fucking dark. That's Puck's whole reason for living.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Deadpool's his own comedy relief, too, but...
Yeah, fair.
yeah, you gotta want to turn the camera away for this.
Oh! And here's Little Piggy.
This is a little big home.
Oh!
You scared the cat! But
Thank you, Agent Smith.
But to get to the fucking elephant in the room, because I know you want to hear everything about it. Mm-hmm. Let's get to the. Yeah.
Let's get to the numbers.
Let's get to you.
Let's get right to the news.
Let's get to the kitty. Let's get to DS Pets.
Let's get to the fucking ninjas in Mortal Kombat.
Well, I still have another Capcom movie to talk about that no one ever talks about.
Which
What
one?
do you got?
Assassin's Fist. That's a great fucking movie. Have you guys ever seen that?
I have never seen Assassin's
Street Fighter
Fist.
Assassin's
I keep
Oh,
saying-
you never Street Fighter Assassin's Fist?
Yeah.
Yes, that one was
Oh,
fucking
okay.
fantastic.
All right, yeah.
Is that
fucking
another
love that
Capcom
one.
movie that no one talks about? That's a really good fucking movie.
It's the fucking Street Fighter movie that takes place during like Alpha 2 or something like that, right?
It takes
it
place.
Alpha?
I
It takes
thought it
place
was
before
Alpha.
Street Fighter 1.
Oh, yeah.
That's the whole point. Is that
shit.
it's Ryu and Ken growing up in the Dojo Grounds of Goken.
That's
yeah,
right.
that's
Where
right.
like Akuma comes in and kills Goken and everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That actually was a banger, dude. I'll give it
That was a really good
That one
movie.
was a,
That's
that
a
was
Capcom
fan film.
Yeah, that's a Capcom movie no one ever talks about. Same with if it would have been a movie, Mad Gear movie. The
I
Final
would've
Fight fan
fucking-
film.
I would
That
be all
was
over a
pretty
Mad
good.
Gear
It's
movie.
like, yeah, you have a young Cody, you have a young guy that's beating people up in fucking streets from Final Fight, and you have
Oh,
Mike
you have
Hagar.
Broken Gear. Okay.
Broken Gear, that's what it was. And then, yeah.
They had John Fry as fucking Mike Hagar, and
Yeah.
it worked so fucking Sergeant Slaughter from G.I. Joe, essentially.
Yeah, and everyone's been saying that for years. It's like, you know, if you're gonna make a Final Fight movie, hire that man because he'd make a
He
good
was
Hagar.
also the lead
You know
commander
what?
in fucking Godzilla Final Wars.
It's like, you know what? 10 years later, after fucking, what was it, Battleship movie, here he is as Mike Hagar. He's still kicking ass.
Dude, what is he, like, in his 50s or something like that?
Something like
He has
that.
to be.
And you know what?
He's had that same
up
fucking
there.
mustache for
And
like
you
longer
know
than he's been
what? That's the
alive.
perfect age for Mike Hagar because he's not fucking young. He's middle aged.
He's still able to body people.
That man done Haggard.
Yeah, 'cause he was in Saturday Night Slam Masters. He's gonna fucking slam the shit out of you.
Yeah, holy shit. I love John Fry. He's so fucking
Another
cool.
one that I totally spaced on. Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed movie. So let's talk about this for a second.
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about
I can't talk about it. We
Let's
should
get to the numbers, Jamie.
We should get our big man. We should get
Pull
our
it
big
up,
man,
Jamie.
Big C over here. You know it.
He'd shit on the movie and it'd lead to an argument between he and I.
Yeah.
Well,
So the movie
okay, it
itself.
doesn't. At least he's not as big as a fanboy as CJ is with fucking Arceus games. I thought he was like loving every single flaw with Assassin's Creed.
Has CJ watched the Double Dragon movie?
I don't probably know.
Fuck.
He's probably
Show him the Double Dragon movie, see how he feels.
But
Oh, I love it. I don't know.
I liked Assassin's Creed for what it was. It respected the source material to not go off of the source material entirely because,
Yeah.
in case if the movie failed because it was a video game adaptation, they didn't want to bastardize any established names. So they made
That's
their
true.
own assassin for the movie.
That's very true, and I do like the fact that it was a different facility, so they had different technology. It wasn't the same one from the games. That's why they had more high tech. That's why they were able to do it in a different way. It was established in the comics that was like part of the lore as well.
And Carlos didn't want to accept that. It was the games or nothing, which is a piss poor way of looking at it.
There's a lot more lore than just the games. There's fucking animations that people do that become canon after a while.
Just like Mortal Kombat.
Exactly.
With the Mortal Kombat comics, you had the X series, you had...
Well, actually, to kind of bring it back,
Cartoons.
with Halo, when Halo Reach came out, then we had the movie Halo Legends.
Halo Legends was fucking
Yeah,
good.
Forward
right?
Until Dawn was phenomenal.
Because the whole point was, it's like, well, there's more than just Master Chief. You have all these other small squads that are doing their
I
own shit
fucking
in
love
the Halo
George.
universe.
George is like one of my favorites of that
Yeah,
team.
George was bad.
Right?
I like him.
But yeah, I was like, I should bring it back to Halo. Yeah, there actually is a Halo movie. It's Halo Legends. It's
You're right.
it's 4 shorts or 3 shorts in like one movie.
That one was like the full one was all animated and shit.
The whole thing's animated. It's just
Yeah.
each one's in a different style. One's 2D animated. I think 2 of them are 3D animated.
Yeah, my favorite
So I
one
think
is
it's just 3 shorts.
the Arbiter short. The Arbiter short was fucking
I
badass.
think it was the last one, which is in 3D. I
The
believe.
one where it's like he's going up against the whole Covenant army, essentially.
Is that the one that you showed me?
Yeah, where it's like, he's a demon!
Yep. And then you also had that underground release movie, The Forward Unto Dawn, where you had all the
Yeah.
Spartans training and Chief had.
That was another fan one, wasn't it?
It started that way, but it got such a popular tracking they got discs made out of it. Kind of like how there was that fan film of Assassin's Creed, The Lineage.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I've heard of that
That
one.
explained Ezio's dad.
That one was really cool. That one was done by Machinima, wasn't it?
Yes, and that one was a fucking banger because it was the same costume that Ezio wore, which explained everything of what happened to his dad, where everything
yeah.
came from, what was going on, how he had the knowledge.
And plus, Ezio's dad is a fucking Chad in that movie. Oh my
Dude,
god.
he's fucking
I
legend.
fucking loved him. Holy shit. That whole, like, realm of Assassin's Creed, that whole lore, you can do so much with that shit. Like, but...
Like with the new movie where you were in the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah.
And you had Aguilar. You had your entire crew, and you had the Animus. And that's something that Carlos bitched about. Well, you didn't lay down in the Animus. The Animus didn't track you like some fucking...
You don't
like
have
thing.
to. Excuse me.
It wasn't like that. That never happened, and you don't
Starts
have
sounding
to...
like Rick from Rick and... You don't have to, Morty. You don't have to, Morty. Sorry, Morty.
Talking about how you don't have this, or the apple of Eden doesn't look like that, or why would it be covered by this, or why is this...
That's just nitpicking in that point.
Dude, that's exactly what he does, too. I'm like, dude, just live the fucking movie. You want to hear me nitpick? I'll bitch all day long about what...
You have a movie about your favorite franchise, and they did it somewhat justice. Just let it be, and then if it gets popular, then they can do more with it.
Look, guys.
Like, you want to hear me nitpick and bitch? I'll spend
Was that a
3
golden?
hours...
Was that a golden one?
No.
Oh shit.
I'll spend 3 hours bitching about fucking Annihilation.
Look, guys. As much as I love the N-word, you
but that
can't
one
say
deserves to
N-word.
be nitpicked.
But he fucking says, dude, I like that movie. Fuck off. You don't know. I'm like, dude, fuck off.
Rain was fucking taken out in a few seconds, and he's supposed to be one of the rightful heirs to the fucking throne of Edenia.
Yeah.
He was played off like a fucking grunt bitch.
Like most characters.
Like most
common-
characters
most
that people
characters.
like.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately does bring us back in
Like fucking
Mortal
Charlie Nash.
to Mortal Kombat.
Well, no, this is Mortal Kombat in general.
Yeah.
Like,
The movies disrespect the characters a lot.
the
Fucking reptile.
The first movie before all the lore was really initiated, it was right after MK3 when they started to get biographies.
I like the first one. I think the first one's fun.
The
It
first
is.
one nailed
I do
a
like
lot.
it.
I don't like how they made Scorpion and Sub-Zero slaves. That would never fucking happen.
Yeah.
Not at the same time.
At least not working with each other.
I was gonna say not at the same time, right?
Although now they have them working together, but that's for different
Like
reasons.
the only reason
Yeah.
why you could say slavery is because, like with Scorpion's Revenge, the new animated one, or after MK4, when you realize that Quan Chi was really the reason why
Yeah.
Hanzo thought it was Bihan,
Yeah.
who killed his whole family.
I'm
but
fucking
it was
with
really
you.
him.
Check me out.
That was in the Mortal Kombat Legends, right?
Yeah, that was in the Scorpion's Revenge movie down there,
That's right.
and it was also covered in.
Oh no, I was talking about the Machinima one, where it was like the different take on all the characters essentially. Like Raiden was in a psych ward.
Oh, Mortal Kombat Legends?
The one that Machinima made or Bat in the Sun.
Legacy.
Or whatever.
It was Mortal Kombat
Legacy. There we go.
Yeah, the shit I got over there, yeah. Mm-hmm. But Legacy was alright.
To a point. They fucked up Sub-Zero so fucking bad.
Dude, they called him By-Hand.
God.
Yeah, I do have 2 hands.
What's wrong with that, huh? I got
They
biology.
gave him a wrestler's headgear.
Nice.
Nice. He's got earphones. He's got ear holes.
And he was basically dressed all black and had no cold powers. I'm like, bro.
Yeah.
But, nah, for the movies, the first one was done alright. You had Scorpion going to hell. You had the Toasty fatalities. You had a lot of that shit covered pretty well. For a PG-13 movie, I thought it was pretty fucking alright.
Oh yeah.
Especially with the final battle with Shang Tsung. You didn't go too crazy. No animalities. No twisted psycho CG shit.
No friendships.
Outside of, what...
Well, a few friendships.
Outside of what Reptile was, he was pretty atrocious CG, but at the time...
Well, yeah.
But then again, Jurassic Park
But his
was released
fucking
2 years
theme...
before that.
His theme was a fucking banger, dude.
Dude, Keith Cook himself was a banger. He was such a banger, he came back in Annihilation to play Sub-Zero.
He did. What? He came back to be his brother, right?
Yeah, he was Kuai Liang.
There we go, yep.
He was the one who helped give them the ice bridge and beat Smoke.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, when Smoke was a fucking cyborg?
Yeah, which
They skipped over so much history with...
which really hurts because when you think about it and get to know the lore, Smoke was Kuai Liang's best friend.
Yeah.
He was abducted.
There was so much emotion that could have been brought into that scene.
He was forced into the Cyber Initiative, and Kuai Liang opposed it so much. Mm-hmm. That's why Cyrax and Sector also existed, which we didn't get Sector in the second one, but
we got Cyrax. But he was exploded within the first 5 minutes he was on screen.
I mean, he had one of the best fights in the movie, though, at least.
Fair. And they brought in Jax as fucking beefed out, like... fucking, what was it, the Joker's SpongeBob, like, anger arms or something like
anchor
that?
arms.
Anchor arms, there we go.
Yeah.
But not... Even now is bad, like, the casting in the second
muscles
movie.
on your hands.
You went from A tier to D tier so fast in the course of 2 years because Christopher Lambert read the script and refused to be Raiden again.
Yeah.
With how dog shit that was. The only person you had that returned was basically Robin Shue.
Yeah.
And the chick who played Katana, Talisa Soto.
Yeah.
But when those are the only people that fucking came back, like, the animality purpose I thought was a little wackadoo.
Because he learned that from Nightwolf, didn't he?
Yeah, and Nightwolf needed more fucking time.
Oh, God.
Lightfoot,
There's so much to do with Nightwolf that it's just like...
I mean, the actor they got to play Nightwolf, his name is Lightfoot, and he's one of the best native actors out there. Oh, he also gave us a lot of our childhood because he was the Indian in the cupboard.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it sucks because Nightwolf was one of my favorite characters. He was one of the strongest motherfuckers out there.
And we have a Nightwolf on our fucking, in our squad. In Bubba.
Yeah.
Fucking Bubba.
Old Tyler, Nightwolf himself, long hair, buff, muscle build and all.
And he fucking just like, and he kills at axe throwing.
Yes.
Yeah.
He cheats.
He fucking cheats.
Loaded dice.
He summons the ancestors to help him.
He's got loaded dice. I know it.
That's where I saw that hatchet.
Your axes are loaded.
Your axes are loaded, not the dice.
Like, bro, I saw your hatchet glow. What the hell?
What is this sorcery?
Wait, and then they
Can she fuck off?
then they fucking nerfed a lot of the strength in the people because you gave Johnny you gave Johnny the shadow kick. You had Sonya having her abilities. Everyone was a bad motherfucker in the first movie, which made it sell so well.
Mm-hmm. And then you have Johnny killed off in the first few seconds. Like, ah! No, Johnny!
And I'm just like, which would probably explain why Lyndon Ashby didn't want to come back because he knew that he was going to die. He's like, fuck that.
Ah!
And all these people who didn't want to come back got replaced by American Gladiators.
Yeah.
From TV who didn't act for shit.
Yeah.
And that's the guy who played Jax in that one. He was an American Gladiator.
So was Motaro,
Yeah, the guy
and I
who
think
played
Shiva
Motaro.
was one too.
Yes, Shiva was one of them. Shiva, I actually didn't really mind in the movie. How they did Baraka was gross.
That well, I mean, that one I kind of like explain as like for the time it was. They wanted to do so much with like what they had, and what they had was piss poor.
What they had was piss poor in Friday the 13th Part 7 too, but Jason looked pretty alright for a fucking zombie.
It's one of my favorite designs.
Yeah, fair.
Like, and when you see Baraka get dropped into the fire, if you slow frame it, it's the exact same cycle in its rain going into the fire. They use the same fucking footage.
Come on.
And that god-awful CG for the animality fight against Shao Kahn. Ermac was fucking piss poor. Ermac wasn't Ermac. He didn't have telepathic powers. He didn't have anything.
Ermac was a red ninja, and then they just put him
Ermac
in
was
there.
able to split his body into two, and you got noob.
Yeah.
How? Why? Who? I want names.
Who?
I'm like,
Be
noob son.
fun. I don't know.
Dude. And
Fuck.
the only good fight in that movie outside of the Cyrax fight was the Scorpion Sub-Zero fight. Everything after that was piss poor.
Yeah. At the very least, we got the skull.
And Sindel, ugh. I actually really like Sindel too. What the hell?
She might be dead now.
Yeah, that little slide whistle slip from Jurassic Park.
Or like, see you in hell.
Honestly, like a Krampus, yeah.
Fucking, I can't get over that shit in Krampus. I'll see you in hell. I kind of want to play it on the TV. Anyway, back to what we were saying. Where were we at?
We were just going into the new 2021 MK.
Okay.
Right.
Do you guys want to discuss that while I go get dressed really quick and then we can get really into it?
I've seen how long it takes you to get dressed. We'll finish the episode first.
Okay, it's like 6 or 6.
Also,
Right.
we can talk about once we also get Pretty Kid back in here.
You want to do like a part 2 and then we just add that into the podcast later on?
Or we can go into a entirely different section where we can either finish that off and go to more of a horror sections of the movie, or
Do like a double?
Horror would probably be tonight with Brittany.
Yeah, okay. Then let's just finish off with the Mortal Kombat 2020 and
Well, yeah, I was going to finish off with this and then have, like, in conclusion, what do you think is better or worse, or what nails adaptations?
that should be fine. Yeah.
Because once we finally got the MK reboot in 2021, and
today, Junior.
selfish plug to Hunter Brow, my ass guy. But yeah, selfish plug to my mask guy for being part of the movie.
Hey, but that was pretty cool when he told me that he did work on the movie.
Yeah, I got my Sub-Zero mask out of the movie. Or debatably the best thing one of the best things out of the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And also did work on Cabal, but nailing the storyline finally, where you had the beef between Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
And you got probably the first 11 minutes of the movie and the last 11 minutes of the movie, both with Scorpion and Sub-Zero, let's not lie, were the best parts of the movie.
Yes.
Those
Yes.
fight scenes were beautiful. Done perfectly well, like an old samurai movie. And you saw the fear and hatred in everyone's eyes.
My favorite fight scene of the movie was probably the one in the beginning with Hiroyuki Sanada, like back in the fucking 16th century,
Yep.
where he's fighting all the like,
the Lin Kuei beats.
all the Lin Kuei, and he's just like, he's not even a demon yet. He's just a dude. He's just fucking kicking ass and everything. It's so fucking cool.
He's taking his wife.
Because it's like a gardening tool that he's using, right?
Yeah, his wife is using the kunai as a garden tool, and he put the rope on it and just fucking rope darted fucking everybody.
Fucking awesome, and it just like it played out so well. It played out like how you would expect a Mortal Kombat movie to play out.
Well, it was so fluid, and I don't think there were very many cuts to the scene.
I think it
Not
was
that one, at least. Not that
I'm
one.
not saying not in that one.
Wasn't it legitimately like choreographed or something like that?
Yes.
Like they actually taught Hiroyuki to do that?
I think so.
Yeah, because Hiroyuki, I don't think had rope dart training, so he did everything all on his own. And his Japanese voice, when he's talking with his wife, so soft, caring, and then when everything went down, you could tell he was angry at God.
Get over here!
I still think in the trailer that was better, because I hate how everyone bitched in the trailer. You can't tell what he's saying. It's too garbled. It's too mean. It sounds demonic. I'm like, that's what the fuck he is.
The point.
He's from hell!
That's the joke.
He sounds. Yeah, that's the joke.
You suck, Big Bang!
I mean, in the trailer, he sounded like he was singing like Cannibal Corpse when he said, "Get over here."
Get over here!
And then in the movie, it just sounded like you could tell it was a redub. And it hurt.
Get over here!
Right.
Schwarzenegger? I'm like,
Get over here!
Oh, I'm so glad they brought it back.
Get over here! Hey, Peter, get over here! Get over here!
and that was the only English he used,
Yeah, I think it would have hit harder if it was in Japanese.
like it was in Legacy.
Yeah, that would have been fucking cool.
I actually liked how he did it in Legacy, using the Japanese, but I feel like if he had kept speaking in English, it would have kind of made sense.
Okay.
Because how Sub-Zero was speaking Chinese in the beginning, now he spoke English.
That, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
because you had all the time from then to now, and you know he's looking in on Earthrealm from Netherrealm.
I keep on forgetting that Sub-Zero is technically, like, Chinese in origin.
Yeah, he's a shinobi.
That's fucking cool. I like that.
He's not a necromancer, he's a cryomancer shinobi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had that going against the samurai, which made one of the best fights out there. Mm-hmm. And now they're both ninjas. So
The beginning fight reminded me a lot of Ghost of Tsushima. Like,
yeah.
Like the beginning fight in Ghost of Tsushima, where like you turn it on like black and white or something like that.
Yeah,
You get
yeah.
The fucking
The
Kurosawa
Kurosawa.
mode.
Yeah.
It's so fucking cool. I love that game so much. I think I still have it in the room. I'm not sure.
Then
Game I've not played, but I've heard it's really good.
Dude, we
that
played a little
game is
bit.
actually really nice.
It's
I don't
so
like
it's so cinematic. It's so
I don't
good.
like to play games like that a whole lot, but Ghost of Tsushima fucking hits.
It's fucking good, and just it operates so well into like, especially because it's not referencing a whole lot of samurai movies, even though it's like it's its own samurai movie.
Right.
So fucking good. As I'm a huge fan of Seven Samurai and everything. And by the way, adaptations, Bug's Life. Have you heard that shit?
No.
Seven Samurai? Oh, you mean Star Wars?
Fuck. No, it's like there's an actual connection between Bug's Life and Seven Samurai. I'll show it to you after the fact, but
Yeah.
it's interesting as hell to watch.
But to have the one thing I didn't like, and it was again studio interference. Thanks, Warner Brothers. You seem to have a trend. But
Where he literally gets plot armor.
well, the whole thing of Cole Turner.
Yeah.
You had someone who was supposed to be the audience member in the movie.
I honestly thought he was going to be the daughter of Tanya for some reason.
And
His brother the Joker. That's what he was.
well, Tanya is also Adinian. It had nothing to do with Scorpion. It was just the same color. But when it came to the movie, I thought it would have been better just to have Sonya, because she was in Earthrealm. She was just a militant person looking through Mortal Kombat and the
You didn't need to make a new guy. You could have made
the,
someone that was like kind of off to the side a little bit at first.
Arcana tattoo.
Or you could have
the
made,
marking.
or you could have made like Mortal Kombat 9, where it's literally just Johnny Cage walking in, like, wait,
Fucking shirt cocking everywhere.
like, wait, hold on, this is real. What the fuck's happening? Hold on a second.
That's what it should have been. I understand wanting to go and get Johnny because of what happened in the NetherRealm trilogy, 9, X, and 11, where Johnny's family history actually plays a giant importance. That's why Cassie's so important, and Cassie had to beat...
Right, where they get that aura and everything.
yeah, that's where the magic comes through on him,
Right.
not so much Sonya. Where Cassie had to be the one to beat Shinnok because she had the cage blood.
Yeah, that's right.
And I actually had a lot of fun with that, too.
Dude, the Mortal Kombat games fucking hit different. I love those.
And especially since they started going cinematic with a lot of their shit, it's fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
And
I fucking love Kano.
I'm eager to see what happens.
Kano was like the biggest comic relief in the whole movie.
Dude, that was so fucking... Everyone was like, hey, it's Kyle in the movie.
That's true.
I'm here, folks. The Australian. Like,
Were you the one that said that?
Yeah, it's just Kyle.
It's just Kyle in the movie. And everyone was just fucking laughing their asses off.
I love
And
that.
the more he talked, I was like, yeah, there's Kyle.
They're like, yeah, Kyle's other personalities out here. It's like, yeah, make yourself at home. You got anything to say for yourself? Yeah, your beer is shit and you're almost out of it. Kyle's in this movie.
I don't have a mark. Wah, wah.
Dude, I still to this day thought that was one of y'all.
I expected that to be fucking CJ or some shit.
It sounded like it was Julian. Because it sounded like something Julian would do. or
Yeah.
It's like,
Especially with Mortal Kombat being as much of a Street Fighter fan as he is.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, where's your marking? I don't have them. And it was so on tone, too. So I'm like, no way, no. But yeah, if Kano wasn't a part of that movie, I do think I would have given that movie a solid fucking C.
Yeah.
But not a B plus, A minus that I did.
Just the guy that got for Kano was just so fucking good.
It was
Josh
perfect.
Lawson fucking nailed it, dude.
It
I
was.
hope he comes back for number 2.
Even though he didn't look very like he felt like Kano, like you know, like what we were talking about with Captain America, how they're very different from the comic and the movies and everything.
Yeah.
It's the feeling of the character that really gives them their life. You can make them look like a whole lot of different like looks. You can give them hair, you can give them the full beard. You don't have to have the mutton chops or anything, but just like their presence and how they carry themselves, it makes the character so much. And that's what throws off a lot of people, because you can get someone that looks like the character but doesn't feel like him at all.
Kazuya.
Fuck!
I mean,
He looked like an extra out of fucking Yakuza, let's not lie.
Yeah, he looked like I was playing Persona 5.
well,
But no, man, because with how they ended and how Shang Tsung was like, they're not down, death is just another entrance into life. I think they're going to grab the cyborg or the cyber initiative to where they could cyberize or cybernetically alter Kano, which could bring him back, and you get the
Give him the
faceplate.
full eye, yeah.
You can give him the faceplate, and then you can also incorporate Sector, Cyrax, because Bihan's gone now,
Yeah.
and the Lin Kuei maybe have lost their way to where you have to dive into Kuai Liang, who at the time might be known as Tundra, or at that time, or whatever.
Okay.
But
Because he existed at the same time as Sub-Zero, right?
he was the younger brother.
Well, yeah, but like
Yes.
in Mortal Kombat 2 or something like that, he was in there?
Yeah, Mortal Kombat 2 is when Kuai Liang came in.
Okay.
But Kung Lao getting axed, well, that was the most Mortal Kombat thing I've seen in that
Yeah.
movie. Just like how Reptile got the death. I'm like, oh yeah, cool, they're just keeping to this tone.
I really like the presentation that they gave for Kung Lao. I think he's a cocky son of a bitch.
He knows what he's about, and he thinks he's the shit.
That's
Like
Kung
he always
Lao.
is. And, dude, that...
The Krillin character that thinks he needs to be the chosen one.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. And the dress garb on him was spot fucking on.
That fucking hat hit different.
Just his fucking tunic and his pants and the belt was perfection off the game
It was
screen.
very Mortal Kombat 2. Oh my god.
And
Or was he in Mortal Kombat 3? I forget.
Kung Lao was 2.
Okay.
Kung Lao came in 2. And like I said, unfortunately Reptile got bastardized, but that's what we do after MK4.
Yeah.
But we take
So
the
we
strong-
kill off Reptile. Why do you keep doing this to me?
Yeah, we kill off the strongest character in the fucking lore.
Yeah.
I would say, as we say, yeah, Squeak.
Yes, Queen.
But yeah, do we give it a no or do we give it a yas, queen?
Yes, Queen.
But
Yeah.
I'm a fanatic.
A Flipper's tonight.
But
Oh, look at you.
yeah, the fucking Cole Turner thing, or Cole Young, whatever fucking name he got, I don't remember.
I think it was Cole Young.
Yeah, Cole Young needed to fuck off. I liked Makad. I actually really liked Makad Brooks' casting as Jax. I thought he captured his arrogance.
I feel that they needed to introduce him earlier. They didn't need to have him like with the super skinny arms for the beginning part. I do like the reveal of the big arms. That was fucking cool.
That made no sense, however.
It did make
Because-
it made no sense. Yeah.
Because the Arcana is supposed to be inside you that makes you better, not what makes your addition better.
Yeah.
I mean, unless like literally he was just gonna get like fucking beefed out arms, or he was gonna get real anchor arms or something
Real
like
anchor
that.
I'm a jerk!
And everybody loves me.
Coming in to let us smackdown.
I'll tell you what, I want to see that shit.
I got big, I got veiny.
And for the ladies, hairy. He basically gets like Winter Soldier arms or something like that. Like I could see if like a Colossus sort of thing going on. Maybe like
And then when Melina was on screen, I thought she actually nailed Melina fairly well.
I liked Melina.
She had the attitude, she had the cockiness and arrogance. And one thing that actually really bothered me when we went and saw the movie, it wasn't even anything about the movie. It was right after we got out, and it was Carlos again.
Yeah.
And it was right.
Don't get us wrong, we love Carlos, but he has some opinions.
Bless his soul.
And yeah, bless
Bless
his
his
heart.
soul.
But
Hey, we don't want him to die,
it
but
was-
there's sometimes.
it was right in front of Blaine and Jan, and Jan's a very liberal dude straight out the Netherlands. He's
Then why do they gotta make her black?
exactly his words.
Is that
And
it?
he's like, why'd they make Melina black? I'm like,
Does it matter?
exactly. I'm like, dude,
Jade's black, I think.
and Jade's darker. I'm like, dude, you could give Jade.
I think
to,
Jade's Indian,
I was about to say,
actually.
you could give Jade to an Indian person, and I wouldn't be mad at all.
Well, it's like straight Devil Fox with his whole complaint. Why did they make Jill black in the Resident Evil movie? Welcome to
Does
Raccoon
it
City.
matter?
I'm like, dude, ultimately, in this sense, it doesn't matter. Like, you never saw Katana. You never saw any of the Tarkatans.
Like that's the main part I think that I could give like to Melina being in the movie is the fact that they don't have Katana for them to play off of each other. It's like they work best when it's like sister against sister. I would really like that aspect.
And I think it really...
Or at least
didn't-
get like another Tarkatan in there to show her like
See, that's the
beastly
thing.
side.
Again, I never really was bothered by Sissy's portrayal of Melina.
She was really
Because
cool.
she was good, and let's face it,
I love the fucking mouth.
yeah, you're loving the mouth. I'm loving that ass. Dude, how she walked, how like it doesn't wiggle, it folds. I mean, she knew what the fuck she was doing. But
That's what you know.
Especially the fucking, like, I bet for you, the fucking, like, that shit.
I was like, dude, that's fucking Melina. Especially when she's looking at her like, this is not a blood of a champion. I'm like, oh god.
The fucking mudblood.
That's how you know.
Fuck you, little mudblood.
That's how you know the casting. That's how you know the casting couch was.
Yeah, fucking mint.
And that's the thing.
I want to be there.
It doesn't matter what she was. You never saw Katana to play off of.
You guys
never
are talking, it's like 20 right
You
now.
never had the Tarkatans to play off of, and you never knew. Maybe the Tarkatans were of darker descent. And they
I
just had
wouldn't
that
hate to
aspect.
see, like, darker colored Tarkatans.
Like they
in
can
the newer,
they can be like a darker pink. They don't have to look like fucking Freddy Krueger.
in the newer games, they showed like they all had like war paint. Like we don't know what their actual color of skin is some of the time.
Exactly, and
It could be like different shades of them. Like they're in different areas of Outworld. We don't know how that whole area's like physiology with the sun is and everything. They could get like darker skin over time.
exactly. I'm like, and that's why that doesn't bother me. And I was like, dude, Carlos,
Again, this is another case of like it's how the character feels rather than how the character looks.
or much exactly like
That was the problem I had with Jill in Resident Evil Escape from Raccoon City. Was that
she
Jill
was better in Apocalypse.
Fuck, dude. Like, she looked like Jill, definitely. She played like Jill. One aspect I didn't like about that version of Jill is that she didn't feel like Jill. Like, I could care less of how she looked. I mean, she had the fucking, like, the outfit and everything.
Oh, see, wasn't that also the exact same problem with Leon that he didn't?
It was
feel
in that
Leon?
conversation that she was having with the Stars team, where she was like, Jill, what was it, Jill sandwich? Now, they fucking forced that joke in there.
Yeah.
Or how stupid and foolish Leon was. I think she's out there waiting.
Yep.
Most likely.
So, and so then going off of that, what would you say is probably the better work of adaptation? Books, games, or fuck? What was the other one? Books, games,
Comics.
or anime?
What's probably the best adaptation? Ooh. It's really hard to choose. But I think I'll have to get it to The Legend of Chun-Li. No, fuck. Honestly, I think
Because like going off of some of the examples we've given,
I'd probably still have to go with Street Fighter Assassin's Fist, honestly. I think that was a really good adaptation to an origin story that's not really told all that well, or it's like it's been sparsely told through Udon comics. It's like I think it really did that justice, even though unfortunately we never did get to go into Street Fighter 2, where they literally at the end of the movie, at the end of the credits, they go to the fucking Street Fighter 2 Guile stage where they're gonna fight in the hangars. And it's like, that's perfect. They never showed Guile, but it's like, oh yeah, that's where we're gonna go next. That's awesome. It's like we never did get it, but it's like I think Street Fighter Assassin's Fist did a really good job. How Ken actually was gonna go to the dark side at first. It's like Ryu's out doing him. Well, he wants to become the better one first, but it's like he figured out the Shoryuken before Ryu ever did.
Yeah.
While Ryu figured out the Hadoken before Ken ever did, which gave that whole dynamic situation. And then also, I don't think it's hard to say. I don't know. Remember if that was Goken dying or it was, what's his name? Not Getsu. Goken's master. I forget his name. The one who taught Akuma.
oh god, that wasn't Gen, was it? No.
No, Gen's Chun-Li's dad. Or the one who taught Chun-Li, I forget.
Yeah. I can't remember, but
Off the top of my head, yeah, I've completely forgotten. But yeah, I think, honestly, the Street Fighter Assassin's Fist movie was a really good adaptation.
so then
For being a quote-unquote indie film, I think they did a really
Yeah.
good job compared to, like, most fucking films, that's for sure.
So then, would you side more with the video game adaptations?
Yeah, honestly, again, there's not a lot of good anime adaptations. We talked about it briefly at the very beginning, which would have been probably Alita Battle Angel or
Yeah.
Ghost in the Shell. Because everything after that, I think probably JoJo Part 4 would have been the third closest, but I think it's the same problem with Akira. It's like, you've got like 90 chapters. You're not going to bang all that out in an hour 30. That's for damn sure.
Come on, man, you're still missing Dragon Ball.
I mean, that's a great movie regardless. You can't tell me otherwise.
Oscar-worthy performances.
Yes. Loved it.
Yes.
You can't tell me not. Fucking, oh god, thank you, Piccolo.
Yeah. Especially that end credit scene that was supposed to lead up to the sequel.
God, that fucking movie.
Like, honestly, I think I probably would also... Like, as much as I love movies based on books, and you can get a couple different things out of it, but books, now that I think about it, are probably so wide in its variety. You've got different genres within that of itself, too.
Yeah, I would say if you want me to choose a movie like that's based on a book, I'd probably say Ender's Game.
Ender's Game?
For me personally, I fell in love with that book when I first read it because my stepmom's, I think, uncle gave that book to me, and I was reading it, I was really invested into it, and then actually seeing the movie, it's like, I think I had some different ideas of how that, at least the scenes played out in my head when reading the book, but other than that, it's like, it felt pretty one-to-one, honestly. It went through the exact same beats, it went through the exact same ending, and how he got there and all that. I was like, this is great, which is very unfortunate, because then the guy wanted to redo the whole books, and it's like, then he had Ender's Game, Ender's Shadow, and it felt nothing what the original book did, which is very unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's like, it didn't feel like it needed to go on more. It's like, it had the whole conclusion there, where it's like, what he thought was a battle simulation was like, actually, no, you're actually fucking up the whole colony. You just destroyed the whole race. Huh? What do you mean? I thought it was a battle simulation. I didn't realize everyone was here. I thought they were just trying to find a new super soldier, not praising me for destroying the whole colony. Shit.
Yeah.
Which was a really good twist, especially in the book. It's like, huh? Wait, that's why everyone was there? Oh no.
No, I remember... I didn't read the book, unfortunately, but I did. Oh God! I do remember seeing the movie, and that definitely kind of fucked with me when I saw that.
Yeah, that was the big twist, and it's like, that's a pretty good twist, because...
Yeah, you're talking about?
Ender's Game.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I actually like that. Yeah, I like that movie.
Because I was seeing, like, a good...
Definitely different from the book. Oh,
no, not even. It's pretty one-to-one.
Well, I mean, they left out a whole big part about the older brother and the sister fucking with the government, essentially.
What are you talking about? That never happened. Are you talking about the newer Ender's Game where it had Ender's Shadow and everything? Because that's a completely different series.
No, it's the book. It's the book. We read about that. And it was like they were doing what Ben Franklin did to his brother back in the 1700s, where he took up the name Silence Dogood as like a prank. They were basically doing that as like... a different, like, older guy who was like a political activist.
I don't remember.
Like, just sort of usurped the government or something like that.
I don't remember
like a local party.
I don't remember a lot of that being like.
It wasn't in the movie. It was only in the book.
I was gonna say I don't remember that being a lot of like important plot.
It was a B plot. It didn't fit into the actual like plot. Of
and that's why I don't remember, because it didn't really have that much of an impact. Because honestly, it wasn't really that important. Because the whole point was that Ender was the third brother, and apparently the third siblings were always like somehow super intelligent, and smart in that universe for God knows whatever reason. It wasn't really
I liked
well
that aspect of it because it showed that the other siblings were of use as well. They weren't just throwaway characters, which they kind of were in the new movie.
Which is honestly how I felt they were in the book too.
Them, like, you show the sister giving the third brother Ender like some condolences after he kills Bonzo, right?
I think
so. Yeah, the shit kid.
This guy played Ricky in Hannah Montana.
Yeah.
See, I think that's what his name was. Yeah, the shit kid.
It was like everyone called him Bozo, but it's like it's Bonzo, or that was a big thing.
Something like that.
Yeah. He was the commander of the dragons, essentially.
Yeah.
Big asshole.
He was.
Little asshole.
But like I was telling him, the more I further think about it, I don't think.
Is that the shirt?
Yes.
It's fucking awesome.
I don't think that that using adaptations of books actually should qualify in this one, the more we talk about it, because books can be all different genres, much like how a movie can be in and of itself.
That's true.
Whereas the majority of games put into movies are either like action games or war games or shit like that.
Fair enough.
So, but he was also going off of what he thinks.
But then we also have the
adaptation.
aspect of, I'm sorry to cut you off, but there's also the aspect of The Mask, where it was like almost straight up action horror in the comics. It was action comedy in the movie.
Yeah.
It was able to transverse like genres.
More different, which is kind of like what the Mask TV show did. Where they based
the
it more
cartoon,
off,
yeah, absolutely.
Exactly, where they based it more off of Jim Carrey's movie than the actual comics itself.
But they didn't have aspects from the comic thrown in.
Yeah, for sure.
But then going off of that, before we cut this, since you're leaving,
Yeah.
what do you think covered it best overall? Because he went to the video game side.
Personally, yeah, for me, I think it was Street Fighter Assassin's Fist. I think that did it really well.
Well, you could put the... Oh, okay, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
There was a lot of aspects because that was a fan project. That was made with
That's what I'm
like.
saying. For being technically an indie movie, it did it better than a lot of fucking companies have ever done.
Well, I mean, that's usually the case, isn't it? Like, that's usually the case. Like, the fan projects usually do very well. Like Broken Gear and everything.
You can't say that, because honestly, I think the movie Mila Jovovich, I think Monster Hunter did it also pretty well. It only took a couple dozen fucking Resident Evil movies to get there, but still. I think Monster Hunter did it pretty well.
Don't know how correct you are with that statement.
I know. I know I am.
So, honestly, if you put it in that light, I gotta go with you, honestly, because Assassin's Fist was like almost 1-to-1 with the games, especially because they show the training montages and the fucking MMA like sort of workouts that they've implemented for the movie, and it feels real. It feels like this could have actually happened.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because it's not something that they just made up. It's something that's also briefly, loosely told throughout the Street Fighter games and the Udon comics.
Yes.
So then, would you utilize that same movie to back your argument that video games have the better adaptations?
Video games, I feel, have the better opportunities to have better adaptations because
I would say yes to that.
Because with games, they've changed stories so much that even if there is a change in the movie for that game, it could have easily been a plot in the game at one point.
Much like how Assassin's Creed was?
Exactly.
Or
exactly. That's why I thought that Assassin's Creed actually was pretty good.
Or to actually bring it back to Mario Brothers. Not the new one, but the old one. Right?
Okay.
Where you have like Daisy and all this other stuff, and it's like, right? It's more of like a weird like mafia business type of thing, where it's like this whole underground society thing.
Tyrannosaurus Rex, the dinosaur king.
Right? Instead of something where we're gonna have like with the new Mario Brothers movie, it obviously hasn't come out, but there's a lot of already things in there. It's like, yeah, right. You're not having like Mario doing the whole circus act or anything like it was in the games, and how he became a plumber later on.
Right.
But it's still close to that. It was like, yeah, he started off as a plumber. He's going to go through...
Got sucked in through a tunnel.
Right, he's going to go through, save Princess Peach, along with Toad. Well, technically now, it's going to be Luigi.
He had the tumbling animation.
But then you also have, like, all the different worlds. So you have, like, where Donkey Kong lives. You have, like, where the levels take place in general. And so they're all different zones and everything. Mm-hmm. Right? And so I think that also has a good adaptation to be there with it.
All right. Yeah. Fair enough. I give it that. Honestly, I think video games have more opportunities to become really good movies, except for we'll get into this later, but like, except for the ones that are already cinematic in general. Like Last of Us.
Right. I would say, or if we can bring it up back to, we never talked about, the Sonic movies. There's the Sonic OVA, which everyone still praises a whole lot.
I fucking love that one.
Right? That's a good one.
I feel like that one runs too fast, though.
I would say, but then you also have the new Sonic movies, which I still think are pretty good.
Yeah, they're fucking fantastic. I love the second one the most.
I think the first one is better to me than the second one, but not by a long shot.
The way the Sonic movies play to me, and this is actually what I would use to defend video game movies, this and the new MK, to where I would actually agree with you guys, three-way tie on video games, but much like the Avengers, they modernized. They put Sonic in a modern world, but kept Sonic who Sonic was.
Exactly.
They had Sonic for Sonic's sake in our world. They made us become Sonic.
And plus, a lot of the people working on the Sonic movie were fans of the Sonic game. Fans of the Sonic lore. They knew what people wanted as far as Sonic went.
Which I think the second movie does succeed a lot more, where it plays...
Makes me wonder what the actual cut movie would have been with that original design.
Well, yeah. But I mean, like, also the Sonic 2, I think that's where Sonic 2 also does a lot better, where, like, Sonic's actually portrayed more like how he is in the games.
Right, he's like he's still a kid.
Or that, or there's more game references of how Sonic reacts to like certain like world objects in the game than he does into the Sonic 2.
Or even the smallest things, like the Badniks being in like Eggman's car, but he doesn't utilize them.
Or how he needs to have the bubbles survive underwater because he can't swim for jack shit.
Exactly. Yep. That one threw me.
That one made me so happy.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of smaller things in Sonic 2 I think does more justice to how Sonic acts like from the games. That it actually does portray pretty well.
Exactly. And now we're gonna have to end up right here. We'll be back in a few hours with Pretty Kitty on stream with us. But overall, you guys say that video game movies in general have more potential.
I think video games are winning this.
I think nowadays it's got probably more of a 70-30 chance compared to what it was back then.
Because people realize what potential is.
Not just the potential, you have so many fans.
Oh yeah.
It's not just a business anymore.
That or it's not just random shit thrown at a fucking franchise. Like back then it was literally 30-70, so now it's like definitely flipped now.
No, we can get into this in the next time, just as a beginning portion, but I personally think that nowadays they do better with the Masters of the Universe movie.
They've been trying.
They've been trying so hard, and I think that they could do really well with it.
Right.
But more next time.
Later.
Later, guys.
Bye-bye.
We'll see